get fairly tight to it. Now, anybody who's going to be working range, I'm going to need you to fade right on this. And when anybody's running short, is going to stay towards the top of the caldera if we're going to come at them.
I have you in the Griffin.
Sounds good.
Well, that's the thing. We got to get to brawling range, so I may be moving us right up to the hoop if we have to.
Wolverine nach Charlie 4.
It's fine, chill the f*** out, man, it's fine, it's just a fire starter.
Komm Leute, redet miteinander.
15 seconds.
Yeah, exactly,
Don't die.
guys,
15 seconds, don't die.
guys. 3, 2, 1.
Charlie Dar, CT, yellow. Okay, go to Charlie, see if we can get it.
There, to your left, there's a...
So, jetzt gleich hinter die Indie-Pockens,
Mediums be prepared to pull back E40 towards the E5 border.
On my mark.
Left side, come on! Like now, I need strikes on OP barrel. Wire our strikes up.
Die Hauptgruppe rechts, Uferlinie.
They have 3 mechs sitting on the left side when you pass over.
Overheating is bad.
Both legs on the Griffin. Get the Griffin!
Sorry about that. That was such a
That's right. I'm gonna spawn Lance, you guys in Charlie, Lance, you guys in Bravo. That's B2C1.
This third drop is 2 lights, 2 mediums, 2 heavies, 2 assaults.
Jetzt in die Breite ziehen, zieht euch in die Breite.
Lights, watch our backs. We're gonna about base and take up position in Bravo 6.
Ja, kurz Aufschaltung, Delta 4, 3 Stück, 2 Mediums einleiten, wie ich es richtig gesehen habe.
Make a firing line.
C4 Tactical Hill, boys.
Fox.
Lauf unter ECM, hab 2 durchlaufen, 10 Bravo 4.
And get ready to hit people coming from our right.
Charlie on the left, Charlie, a Hellbringer on the left.
Okay, let's group up towards the left. We're gonna press through Bravo 3 to Bravo 4. I think they're kind of spread out.
Check yourselves, make sure you've got, UAV cool shot.
Hey, here they come, they're pushing hard, guys.
Deco. Tez on.
Go.
Oh, got a contact here, Bravo 3.
Nice, Marshall. I'm on Delta Griffin.
Well, if you cross it then, get in their face. They got a highlighter, they just push up on Theta. We need help on Theta. Up on Theta.
Yep, that's the noise. Go. Let's finish this.
Full pressure, guys, full pressure. They're down low. They're down low in Charlie 3. Get the f***ing arm, Jackson.
Jackson, cool shot.
Go. I got him.
Go, P3, go.
Echo, go.
Get over on your mediums, guys. Get Echo Stormcrow. God, I suck as a pilot, but thank I packed my skill.
I'm sorry that you died, sweet girls, but we will send a reasonably nice letter to your family.
Attention to the paper doll. Make sure you guys are shooting the correct legs. Be careful of the collisions. I don't want to hear complaints about it. Work around it. Let's play this game.
I need another heavy. I've got TB and a quick draw.
I want to get fairly tight to it. Now, anybody who's going to be working range, I'm going to need you to fade right on this. And when anybody's running short, is going to stay towards the top of the caldera if we're going to come at them.
I have you in the Griffin.
Sounds good.
Well, that's the thing. We got to get to brawling range, so I may be moving us right up to the hoop if we have to.
Wolverine nach Charlie 4.
It's fine, chill the f*** out, man, it's fine, it's just a fire starter.
Komm Leute, redet miteinander.
15 seconds.
Yeah, exactly,
Don't die.
guys,
15 seconds, don't die.
guys. 3, 2, 1.
Charlie Dar, CT, yellow. Okay, go to Charlie, see if we can get it.
There, to your left, there's a... Sorry, shoot. So, jetzt gleich hinter die Indie-Pockens,
Mediums be prepared to pull back E40 towards the E5 border. On my mark.
Left side, come on! Like now, I need strikes on OP barrels. Wire are strikes up.
Die Hauptgruppe rechts, Uferlinie.
They have three mechs sitting on the left side when you pass over.
Overheating is bad.
Both legs on the Griffin. Get the Griffin!
Sorry about that. That was such a
That's right. I'm gonna spawn Lance, you guys in Charlie, Lance, you guys in Bravo. That's B2C1.
This third drop is 2 lights, 2 mediums, 2 heavies, 2 assaults.
Jetzt in die Breite, zieht euch in die Breite.
Lights, watch our backs. We're gonna about base and take up position in Bravo 6.
Ja, kurz Aufschaltung Delta 4, 3 Stück, 2 Mediums, ein Light, wie ich es richtig gesehen habe.
Make a firing line.
C4 Tactical Hill, boys.
Fox.
Laufen unter ECM, hab 2 durchlaufen, 10 Bravo 4.
And get ready to hit people coming from our right.
Charlie on the left, Charlie, Hellbringer on the left.
Okay, let's group up towards the left. We're gonna press through Bravo 3.
Hello everybody. Welcome to MRBC North America Week 5 of Season 6. How you doing? I am Bandit P17 from the Marine Mechs, and with me today we have Avatar of What from Atari Scorpions. How you doing, Avatar?
Hello, I'm doing fine. Yourself, Bandit?
I am doing good. So, this is going to be Avatar's first time co-casting with me, so definitely give us any feedback in chat if volume isn't right or anything like that so we can get that fixed as soon as possible. We are on a 5-minute delay, so anything you say now will propagate 5 minutes from now, and you should hopefully see improvement at that point. But definitely give us any feedback that you guys can, and we will do what we can to make this a good quality stream. So we actually have a bit of a double header today. 2 teams from Division E going at it. Southern Cross Alliance versus 122nd Fire Force Infantry. This is first place versus second place matchup here. We're going to catch as many drops from that as we can before we move on to kind of the main event for tonight, which is Division C, Isengrim versus Night Scorn for first and second place. And those 2 teams are very close together, so this is going to really be for all the marbles, and that should be a very good matchup and good gameplay there. So we're looking forward to that. But we're hopefully going to see as much as we can from this. We're getting our lobby invites and stuff, so those 2 teams are getting all started here, and hopefully we'll be starting pretty soon here. But so Division E, these are 2 teams that are both up and coming. I have not heard much from either of these teams. I believe both of them are pretty new. So it's really hard to look at a legacy when they haven't been around too long. But it is fun to see the new guys and see what they can bring to competitive MWO, and see what names we might be seeing, later on as they climb the ladder in MRBC.
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing some of these newcomers. Show us what they got here.
Yeah, so
I believe you said that the 122nd was favored to win.
Yeah, they're doing very well right now. They've only lost 1 drop this season, so they're playing very good Mech Warrior. Southern Cross is in second place. They have a couple extra drops lost, but that doesn't mean too much. We've seen a lot of upsets this season, so I don't want to count either of these teams out. This should be a good fight, and hopefully it'll be entertaining for us. Looking over here at Southern Cross, these guys, from what I understand, are the only Latin American team in MRBC, if not in MWO at all, because I haven't heard too many out there. So these guys are representing from Latin America. That's pretty cool. It's good to see you guys up there playing with us.
I think there is a Brazilian team, Inferno Express.
Oh, okay.
I think they're Brazilian.
Awesome.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, guys.
Are they in MRBC at all, or are they just an MWO unit?
They're an MWO unit. I don't think they've ever joined MRBC. I might be wrong on that. They were during the PGI competition. I believe they competed.
Okay, cool. So that's good to see. But yeah, these guys are joining up with us in MRBC, and we'll see what these guys can bring to the table. Then second up, we have 122nd. These guys are doing very well right now in their divisions. So we'll see if they can seal the deal and take home the prize, basically. Talk to these guys a bunch. They're very enthusiastic to be shoutcasted. They had an opportunity before, but unfortunately one of the teams did not want to be shoutcasted, so we weren't able to cover that one during our last attempted doubleheader. But we were able to give these guys a second shot tonight, and they're looking forward to kind of getting in the spotlight a little bit here. So everybody definitely show your love for these two teams, new teams. It's tough starting out fresh and stuff. It's very unpredictable in those lower divisions. Everybody trying to prove themselves. So definitely show some love to those two teams, and we're looking forward to see what these guys can do before we move on to the Div C match. So, moving over to the match itself, as the lobbies are getting formed here. For anybody not familiar with MRBC, there's 5 drops. All 5 drops will be played regardless of the outcome of those drops, because points are awarded in C-bill form. Based on the number of mechs that are killed, certain special things like whether a commander dies in drop 3, and other things like that, and whether or not there's a win or not, definitely adds to that too. So it's not all about wins and losses in MRBC. If one team is winning but they're losing a lot of mechs, it's not as big of a win as if it was like an 8-0 stomp and things like that. So definitely need to see how big they're winning, and if we've been seeing a lot of 3-2 decisions in our prior casts and things like that, and we might still see some more of that tonight. So drop 1 is River City, and it's the light and medium drop. So 4 lights, 4 mediums, no heavies, no assaults on this one. There's maximum of 2 inner sphere chassis. So you could bring like 2 fire starters, 2 ravens, things like that. There are a maximum of 3 clan mechs total, and there's no duplicates for clans. You'll be seeing that throughout the entire match. And in this particular drop, there is a requirement of 2 ECM mechs. So whether it be a light or a medium, doesn't matter, but there has to be 2 of them with ECM equipped. And there's no strikes for the first 3 drops. So River City, Avatar, you guys didn't have to play this particular drop, I don't believe, because you had a bye week essentially. But this is a repeat of week 2. What did you see in week 2 on River City, personally?
Honestly, between the various teams, there was quite a bit of range, quite a bit of brawl, just everyone doing everything. And you can go out water, you can hold back. 228th held back in the spaceport all the way in the back and forced us to push them. And that was actually the only drop that we won against them that week, where we brawled them. We assaulted them with the lights from one end, and then moved in the mediums through the buildings. They weren't able to. We took some damage, but they weren't able to focus fire on any specific mech, and we brought it back. But I really wouldn't be surprised to see either strategy.
Mm-hmm.
I think going out into the water with a lot of range, and then some lights with shorter range weapons like small pulse fire starters to kind of just keep their lights at bay can be very effective. You can take out like 2 of the mediums before they close in, and then the lights can help finish off the rest of the mediums real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully in the light battle, the enemy lights also got a little bit beat up. Depends on what sort of weapons you use. You can't be, using long range with like AR larges or anything. You have to count on shorter range weapons, so like
it's easy
Raven
for those
4Xs.
lights to close the gap for sure. I mean, you can get your initial range in, but you'd have to come to play once they get in your face, definitely.
Yeah, so like a Raven 4X, instead of like, you see a lot of ER larges later on, heavier drops, but for like this drop, I think large pulse laser would be good on that if you were looking to get some ranged lights in there. Yeah, just stuff like that. You're not going to see like any clan ER larges or,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Super
this
long
actually-
duration lasers.
This is actually going to be the first Division E team that I've ever shoutcasted, so I really don't know what to expect. I remember back
That's
in
true.
the...
I could be terribly wrong.
Well,
and
back
we'll
in the
see
day,
that, but-
when we were Division E, I mean, everything was brawl, 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 because we didn't know the current meta that well. We just went kind of brute force and just tried to coordinate with each other as best as possible. And as we moved up through the ranks, we started to have to adapt and grow as a team, because what worked at a prior division didn't necessarily work in the future. So it's going to be interesting to see, have these guys picked up on kind of what the higher tier teams are doing, or are they doing just their own thing, which is working right now? And it's going to be tough to call that, because we can say, oh, this isn't going to work. What is this? And then it might work, because, the different types of teams that we're playing. It's going to be tough. But it looks like we are actually going to get started here, so let me switch over to the game. And let's see what these guys can do. River City. Getting my trusted game controller out. So I'm going to be doing some instant replays off of Avatar's Twitch stream today, so we'll hopefully be able to give you guys a little bit more flavor and different things. So both teams will be zooming in on their dropships, because this is one of the newer maps, and we'll try and catch up and see what kind of builds they're running here. Just off the top of my head here, it looks like SCA is Team 1 in blue, and 122nd is Team 2 in red. I'm seeing some Raven 4Xs, Enforcer 4Rs over on the SCA, so it looks to me like these guys are intending to do range drop. They do have some Raven 3Ls as well.
Yeah, you got to fulfill that ECM requirement, and the Raven 4X, definitely screams range to me. So,
and the Shadow Cat as well. Looking over here at 122nd, we've got the Raven 3L to do that clamp, but then they bring two Blackjack 1Xs, which are glass cannons, but they're pretty good in this drop. Really bring a lot of firepower.
And here they come.
Alright, let's take a look. So it looks to me like 122nd is a little bit more brawly, and but they do have some Wolverine 6Ks to fill some of their range requirement. So a little bit of a mixed build, or I'd say more of a medium range build. But it'll be interesting to see against that heavy range deck from SCA. How do they handle that? Got all the lights down here moving up water. What do we got for SCA? Where those guys seem to be perching up?
They seem to be perching up the back of Spaceport. I saw some ER large lasers on their side, so I think we'll be seeing a lot of just range. A lot of trading. There are some blackjacks with medium lasers on the side of 122. So
wow, they are definitely going all the way back into the corner, but they are split. So we have this this other group here. These must be all the lights. Yep, all the lights are kind of staying forward, just trying to watch for movement. But all the mediums have fallen all the way back into the back of Spaceport. So I mean, let's think about a potential tie situation here, just in case one of them decides to button up and nobody wants to fight. Right now, 122nd is in the lead, and this is first place versus second place, so I believe tie games only impact SCA here, because they need to win some of these drops to start catching up to the first place team.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I do think they are going to be the ones that need to make something happen here, unless 122nd is just really confident.
They might get brave. I mean, there's nothing stopping them from challenging this, but, either brave or stupid, I don't know, but, it all comes down to how it works in the end, and how their movement is, how the coordination is. They can close relatively quick with these mechs. And it is possible to move up that left side to at least get a little bit closer and be able to dip in and out of cover as you approach that back corner. But it's still rough, because you're going to be taking quite a bit of ER large fire as you approach.
Yeah, and it's really going to be rough for SCA to make any moves, because they are so long range. Enforcer 4Rs with ER large lasers. The Raven 3L, ER large lasers, everything is extreme large lasers, and I'm not sure why he isn't firing here. Okay, there you go.
Yep,
got a little bit of trades going on.
little bit of damage on the fire starter, mostly spread, nothing too substantial, but you know what? They're not taking any return fire, so every little bit they can put down range is a win in their book.
Yeah, so I would say it would be in SCA's favor to move up a little bit at first right now.
At least they
and
got
just
those
start
lights
getting
shooting.
some early shots,
Yeah.
because they're so hot that if the other team moves in aggressively, they may just run too hot to be able to kill all the enemy mechs.
Yeah, and you know, it'd be interesting to see. We got these fire starters kind of moving up the right flank here. What would happen if these guys decided to jump on the lights? It looks like most of the mediums are still up in Upper City. It'll take them a while to get to the fight. But they know they're there now. They got some fire in on them. I don't know whether or not the 122nd lights would be able to impact these lights enough without getting shredded by those ER larges sitting in the back. So this really is going to have to be either a coordinated charge, or they're going to have to sit back and wait them out.
Yeah, I think maybe they can do a little bit of poking, but on the lights, but they can't really cross that line.
So it looks to me like the SCA lights have decided to fall back into the back of Spaceport as well. This is going to enable 122nd to move up. They are still pretty fresh, despite all of the little poke damage coming in and stuff, but they're all backing up. They are setting up, though, across from each other, which may work in their favor, since you know, you can attack one group, but the entire time you're attacking that one group, the other group is firing at you. And if they decide to commit to the lights over here, the mediums are going to just have all day to fire. So it looks to me like 122nd does not want to take this to a draw. They've been moving up aggressively. I think they want to make something happen, and they're just going to fall back on their speed and their ability to focus the damage as they get to their targets, and then ultimately, you know, they might be able to go up, you know, 4-1 on them, and then run over the other side and clean up. That's what they're hoping for.
Yeah, I think they're just realizing perhaps how much range the enemy team has, which is outraging them, since they have the Blackjacks, which can't really keep up. Even the Wolverine's
trying to get his damage in. It's just not. It's not happening. So the longer 122nd waits, the more health slowly gets bled off of them. They can't do this for much longer. They're going to either have to commit, or they're going to have to button up and try for the tie, which is unfortunate, but you know what? That might be what it takes to win the division, and I can't fault them for that. It's boring for us as spectators, but you know what? We all hope they suicide rush in for our entertainment, but first and foremost, they need to worry about what it takes to win, and if that's what it takes, then we can't fault them for it.
I think it is doable, though, honestly. If they send in the lights as kind of a distraction, build up their heat with those ER larges, and rush in the mediums through those buildings, kind of in the similar way how we did to 228, they can get in there, and there's not a whole lot of kiting room left for these mediums back here.
Yeah, I mean, they can crash into one of the groups. Personally, I would say crashing into the medium group would be better, because the medium group can't run away as much.
Yeah.
And also taking those heavier lasers out of the picture would be beneficial. But they're all kind of building up on the right side here, which is where the light group is. If they can kill the lights fast enough, maybe it'll be even better for them. But they have to seal the deal against those Ravens.
I think perhaps even move in the lights through the left, and the rest of the group just in the open. And close the distance, because it's not exactly like they don't have any range whatsoever here. I mean, even their most brawliest mechs, the Blackjacks, have I think a 330 meter range with module. So if they can just close that distance fast enough.
And they have their Raven 3L over here. He is, I believe, ER large, and he's trying to do some work. They don't have the range advantage as much as the 4X does, though. The optimal range of that 4X is the longest range ER large laser in the game right now. So just from a paper standpoint, unless they're not shooting straight, it's just a slow bleed out for these guys. But it comes down to, heat management, using the cover properly. So maybe they can out-duel them here just to try and burn them down. But the percentages, though, not too much in favor. It looks like they're going to go. Here we go. They've moved all the way up the right side. Their mediums are almost on top of the lights here already. They caught me by surprise here, and they're using any cover that they have available to themselves. So they've moved up. Some of the mechs are starting to drop down below 90% here. They're stalling out, taking some poke damage from the side, but they've at least moved themselves up a notch further. Let's see, as they wait for their lights to arrive, are they going to just kind of bleed out in this corner, or are they going to make a commitment here? They've got to where they need to be, but they've stalled out.
They need to push on. They can't
need to
just
keep
hold
going.
here.
Absolutely.
These other mechs, they're running really hot right now.
Absolutely. I mean, they need to go. Now is the time to go. You got a mech down to 75%. That Blackjack is going to go down pretty soon here if he doesn't make a commitment. I don't know why they stalled out. I mean, I understand that they're happy that they've moved up, but they're allowing those ranged mechs to cool down now. They're not using that little burst of heat that they caused themselves. They're not using that to their advantage to close the gap here. So now we've moved a step further. Neither team, or the SCA, is not moving any further back necessarily, but
I think SCA just heavily won on that.
Yeah,
just because they're back to 0 heat now.
Yep.
They can start trading again.
And here they're going. They're having the Stormcrow lead the charge. They got the Blackjack, the hurt Blackjack in the back, which is good. Stormcrow is going to go down pretty damn quick, though. They are definitely focusing him down hard. He will go down shortly here. One torso gone. They're working the other one, and the other one is gone. One Blackjack did make it up to the lights, but they are splitting up. They are not focusing on any single target. One Blackjack versus 3 lights over there, and he does take down the Raven 3L. The rest of the team has moved into the mediums. They legged the Shadowcat. Let's see if they can finish the job before getting burned down themselves. It is 1-1 currently. Shadowcat does go down. It is currently in favor of 122nd. They're working on the Enforcer 4R. He goes down as well. Next target looks like in the Enforcer 4R, who's jumping down the hill, but the everything is looking to be pretty strong for 122nd. All of their mechs are very
Blackjack
hurt.
fell for 122nd just now.
And it's just
Another
even
one
up
just
3-3. They have a
122nd.
lot of very hurt mechs, but 122nd seems to be focusing fairly well. They need to finish off the Stormcrow as quickly as possible with the 2 fire starters in the Arctic Cheetah. They're working him down as hard as they can. He does go down. We are back in favor of 122nd. And the other mechs have retreated back to the Starship. The Enforcer is the next focus target. They're going to burn him down and then move on. All that's left after this is the 3 light mechs. Let's see if they can take him down in a reasonable amount of time before losing anything else. They're focusing on the Arctic Cheetah there. Enforcer goes down.
3 lights now.
It's the Panther and the Raven 4X, and the Firestarter gets legged. They might switch to him and finish him off. This is a close fight, but it looks like things are starting to go in favor of 122nd. It is 6-3. They're working down the Panther and the Raven, and that'll be it. That was a hell of a brawl.
Closing the deal.
So I mean, we were kind of saying that that stall out worked against them, but maybe they were able to lock down what they were going to do, because once they decided to charge, they lost the Stormcrow early, but they focused very well. The Shadowcat went down. We saw systematically 122nd was focusing incredibly well, and even though they were going into the fight with a lot of extremely damaged mechs, their focus ended up winning out. I mean, looking at Team 1's scoreboard, their mechs were all above 80%, but you'd see one die, and then you'd see the next one die, and nobody was hitting the wrong target. Everybody did a very good job landing their shots where it counted, and it was just one after the other fell. And, we saw it even up a little bit, and that's because all of that early damage stacked up. A lot of the damage is spread on every single one of the 122nd mechs, so naturally a couple of them fall, but that focus is what wins right there. That did very well.
Honestly, though, I think if they just continued their original push, they probably would have won 8-1 instead of 8-4, just because of how much long range as SCA brought to the game.
Absolutely.
Which is just
it
entirely
ended
way
up
too much,
going in their favor, and that's awesome. But I do agree with you 100% that if they did not stall out there and they used that heat build up to their advantage, I think it would have been a lot less close. It would have been even more if they brought that same focus. It's hard to say. Maybe them taking a little bit breath behind the corner, around the corner, allowed them to kind of regather themselves and plan a charge, and that's cool. But just from the top-down angle that we see, if they had continued to push through and if they were able to maintain that same level of focus, it would have gone even stronger in favor of 122nd. But a win's a win. They got 8 kills. Southern Cross, I believe, only had 4. That's awesome for 122nd. Good start for them. And we'll see whether or not Southern Cross can bring something back and drop 2.
I believe if Southern Cross wants to take first place, they need to win the next 4 drops consecutively, if I'm correct.
Yes. So that is a not so good start for Southern Cross. Kind of a bummer for them. I'm sure they wished that they could have come out strong, but it's not impossible at this point. And we've seen this happen before. A bad start followed by a strong
We've seen
comeback.
bigger upsets.
As you start getting into the heavier decks, things start going more and more in your favor. Potentially, if that's what you're strong at. So it's not unheard of for SCA to still come back and potentially win it all. We'll have to see. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the replay. Let's see if I can get this all set up. Get it stretched out.
Oh, I never changed the title for my broadcast.
Oh, that's fine. I'm just showing the screen. So, alright. I'm watching your view right now. You're showing a lot of the ER large fire, poking at the light mechs. The mediums at this point have already moved up into that corner, so you can kind of see they're buttoned up, getting a little bit of poke damage dealt to them, just kind of adding that extra damage. That Blackjack took a bulk of the damage during this phase. But you know what? When they came around that corner, that Blackjack was in the back, and that was smart on their part to not have him in harm's way. And SCA did
Very true.
SCA worked the Stormcrows are incredibly dangerous, but they potentially could have finished that Blackjack off like that and then still got the Stormcrow. So they opted to go for the lead mech. Didn't identify that. And it's tough to see, especially with the ECM floating around. But those Blackjacks and glass cannons, you can't leave them alive. What's that?
I think going for the Stormcrow is a fair call.
Yeah, and that's not terrible, but with the and you know what? Hindsight's 20/20. We knew the Blackjack got hurt pretty badly. They may not know that, but leaving those glass cannons live for too long is dangerous stuff.
True.
So, but they did get the Stormcrow, but then once those guys got into their favored range. A little bit of a split at the beginning, but that was kind of a miscall on my part because they tucked in well. They got into the main body. They had the one guy fighting off to the right side, but he was able to keep several mechs at bay and was able to solo kill one of them, I believe. It was either very hurt or he went over there and he did his job. That was fantastic, but the rest of his team moved up and started focusing very well. I think that was a Raven 3L that actually got killed by him, and he was surrounded by 3 enemy mechs. And still was able to get a kill. That's a great start for their team. And here, it kind of evened up a little bit, 3-3, because everybody was pretty hurt. But as I was saying before, we saw the percentages very high for Team 1, SCA, but one mech was being targeted at a time, and that wins matches right there. The focus was fantastic.
Yeah, it was just mainly focus fire and the fact that all the SCA mechs are just going to run hot after a period of time and not be able to put out as much damage as...
They're definitely not built for this, so, the fact that they were able to move up to that advanced spot and weren't able to take a mech down in that advance, that bode pretty badly for Southern Cross. They needed to do a little bit more damage on that initial movement, because once that charge came across the field, yeah, they got the Stormcrow down, but they could have done a little bit more. Once it gets into that brawl range and everybody's running hot, it's very easy to fall apart.
Yeah, and I mean, assuming that I took a deck like this which I probably wouldn't do because I think that's way too much range for a light drop deck. But assuming I did, I would have a couple of mechs just dedicated to fending off lights, maybe a couple streak mechs, planned streak mechs. And then I would be in a position where I could rotate out and away from the enemy mediums as I'm firing, right? Mm-hmm. So instead of them just crashing straight to me and I don't move, they're running to me and I'm running away from them. There's some really good mechs for firing as you're running away, like the Wolverine. You can shoot almost directly behind you with your arm as you're running away. And if the enemy just doesn't have as much range as you, you can just sit out in the open, even in the water, and do a lot of damage that way. But where they were positioned, they were right next to the out of bounds. Mm-hmm. They didn't really have a good place that they could run to. So 122nd just took the best angle they could. And once that happened, and they actually fully committed and were ready to go in there, and I think it would have been better for them to not stop. I mean, the Blackjack could have stayed behind for a second, rotated out, came back in if he felt like he was going to die. Maybe there was the drop commander, and that's why he made the call.
Sure.
I could definitely see that happening. So nothing against them, but if the second they did that, it was game over. As long as their focus fire was halfway decent, and it was.
And you know what? One thing that we did notice too: the Stormcrow predictably died. But he got almost halfway across the field before he went down. He did a very good job twisting off all that extra damage. And, that bought his team time to get into position. And that's so huge. I mean, losing one mech, it sucks, but it's kind of going to happen in that instance. But you've made them run up to 100% heat, and you've covered half the ground before going down. That's pretty huge. So we are they moved very quickly, so we are actually already in Canyon Network now. And I'm looking over here at 122nd. I've got large lasers in a 4R, Hellbringer, Gauss, ER mediums, small laser, large laser on the Wolverine 6K, Gauss, ER mediums, large pulse laser for the Timberwolf. So very pokey mid-range deck from 122nd. What do you got over by SCA?
Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. Trying to get them up.
I see some Griffin.
Okay, so I see a ER large Raven, large laser Enforcer, Gauss, large pulse laser Timberwolf. Looks like a pretty long range deck here.
They do have a couple 2Ns though, so they have a mixed deck. They can bring the brawl if need be. It looks like there's a lot of poking going on across Theta, just to the side of Theta right now. SCA kind of perched up on the ridge as 122nd starts moving up the right side here. A little bit of an exchange. The Raven 4X took a little bit of damage, but not too much so far. Just kind of a, hey, I'm here, don't ignore me kind of shooting right now. They got their fire starters in the right flank here, perched up, watching movement, and I think they might have seen SCA start rotating around. That might be why
I think it's very likely they did see them.
Yep.
Yeah, there's been fire traded.
So they know they're moving now. They're starting to move accordingly, and a little bit of a left shift towards Theta. But yeah, the Raven 4X is taking a bulk of the damage now for SCA. Oh, they're just getting wrecked over there. Every time they peek, they're playing whack-a-mole right now, and 122nd is punishing them. The Raven takes even more damage and isn't able to return fire effectively. So they're down to 73 and 74%. That's pretty brutal for them. That's not the start that they wanted on this drop.
No. Oh, and the Enforcer goes down.
Oh, I just saw that whip right past. That was a great shot from Theta, right between the legs of the bridge. That is a fantastic shot to take him down. So they are up Y1 right now, and the Stormcrow's moving to get a little bit of poke damage in there. A little aggressive, but he's shaking.
And
he
got a free shot?
I think he got a free shot in there.
And it doesn't seem like SCA really knows what they want to do yet. They're trying to consider hunker down.
122nd is definitely controlling the pace of this fight. They are up one. They are emboldened. They are putting some easy poke fire down. We got the fire starters moving up on the right side.
Yeah, the light's just harassing, not really receiving a lot of return fire. They're running away now.
Here comes that Stormcrow again. They're not letting
they're keeping SCA on their toe.
Absolutely. They're not letting them get comfortable. And here we go. This is going to be a brawl rush. They're going to use their jump jets. They're going to try and take it up to them, but
they're not in a
spread
good
out,
position. They're in a kill box right now, Bandit.
Yep. They're getting up there, and they might be able to work one of the mechs, but not a lot of focus. So you got people hitting multiple targets, taking back damage. They finally reached the Wolverine 6K. Let's see if they can take him down quickly, or at least nullify him. They do take the 6K down, but they've lost 2 more mechs in the process during that charge. It's going to be a fight from the bottom here.
Make that 4 more mechs.
Oh man, that Stormcrow, the Stormcrow was the closest one to him as they charged. 1 mech went at him, but they left him alone, and he's just unloading. We got a little bit of a light fight in the back here.
Pyro and the Griffin's about to go down here. He's at 38%. He just jumped down 33%.
And we're looking back over here. SCA has a couple of a medium and a Raven caught out here. The Raven goes down. All they got left is a very, very hurt Thunderbolt, and he's being swarmed by the Firestarters.
The Thunderbolt is neutered. He doesn't even have weapons.
Oh, man. And then the last one is the Firestarters. So very commanding win by 122nd there. Very commanding. They held very key positions. They were very brave, but they were using that to their advantage by not allowing SCA to get comfortable, not allowing them to think and come up with a plan. Backed them all up into a corner, started hitting them from every side. Great job by their light mechs to come in behind them and just not allow them to even catch a breath. And then ultimately SCA decides it's time to go, but it was very uncoordinated. They hit the far left flank, but they didn't even hit the closest mech to them. They continued through. Some of them turned their back to the enemy. It was just it was a very tough place to be in, but at the same time a very non-coordinated intro to that charge. But
I'm looking at these scores here, and it's just brutal. I mean, we have 48, 48, 30, 33. That's 4 members of SCA that did not break even 50 damage. When you have that happen in a comp match, you know it's going to be a pretty stompy, pretty much a roll. I mean, it was a bad spot that they were in. I don't know if I would have chosen to continue to push around to the left. I think I would have pushed away those fire starters and try to, get another angle to work at, because they had to know that 122nd was pretty much entrenched up there. They did a very good job of getting there immediately and setting up their firing lines, looking toward they thought SCA was going to be. And once SCA lost that initial poke battle, they should have realized, hey, this isn't working. We need to get into a better position. But they knew that they also had a lot of very long range. So the way you're going to do that is not by pushing through a kill box, but in the lower ground when the enemy is pretty much surrounding you in a concave. It's to get another angle wider and then start rotating around the enemy, looking for new angles, looking to put pressure on them. I just don't think the power position through the valley there was the right call for them to make.
Yeah, I mean, this might have been just the deck that they brought might not have worked well. I understand that they were going for the charged jump jets, but they didn't charge right out the gate. They had 2 very weak mechs right out the gate just from bad trades. They were clearly going for a fast-moving, jump jet-capable brawl deck, essentially, but they didn't play to the strengths of their deck. They waited until they got picked apart, and then they charged, and they didn't charge at... I guess they didn't get to the team. They got to the fringes, but the whole time they were skirmishing with the edges, the rest of the poke deck from 122nd was just pouring it on them. They weren't able to effectively bring those brawlers to the bulk of the mechs and focus them down. And those 2 ends were essentially nullified. They were never able to effectively go in and lay down fire. It was just a tough place to be. And you know what? I was on the receiving end of that same kind of thing when we were playing Rising Storm. We went with that fast brawl jump jet capable build and got completely wrecked on Canyon Network. And
they just had a couple of the jump jet brawling mechs. Like a lot of their other mechs had very long range ER large lasers. Like they had a Thunderbolt with ER large lasers. It's kind of a disjointed deck a little bit.
That's rough.
Yeah, the
If they
Raven
did go for
4X
that
was
fast
ER
movement,
large
he would have been
laser.
left out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I was saying that I would have used that range a little bit more but it's weird because they do have these two brawling mechs in there that don't really fit in with the rest of their strategy.
Yeah.
Which I think they'd be a little bit better served just being mid-range mechs. Not as much range,
Maybe
a little bit more
Wolverine
firepower.
6Ks instead of Griffin 2Ns. I mean, they didn't need that ECM there necessarily, and the
Yeah,
ECM
that's
cover
true.
didn't really help them. Their Raven got completely wrecked every time he peeked. That definitely set the pace for the match. Just how much damage that Raven took before anybody was even able to set up. So hopefully they can go back and look at it and try and come up with something that works a little bit better going into next season. But that was definitely a tough place to be in for them.
Yeah, I think even looking here, like my stream's going right now. I don't know if you're currently seeing that, but basically at this point in my stream, they're looking to push. But what if they just set their jump jet brawler straight over jump jetting instead of kind of like to the side, working around to them.
They could have had that Stormcrow immediately, and then they could have maybe dumped back into the other side of the canyon once he went down. But they stayed up top, tried to force their way towards main body, but they're just getting shredded as they move up. I mean, it's hard to say what they could have done better because I think there was a lot they could have done better. But they definitely need to go back. Hopefully they can use some of our overhead footage and maybe say, okay, obviously this didn't work. What can we change next season? And who knows? Maybe the meta will completely change by then. But at least from what we saw here, it was hard to watch. Just there wasn't much they could do differently there.
Yeah, I mean, once they already took that early damage and lost that first mech, they were put into a really bad position. That is true. If anything, they just needed to, I think, get their brawlers to hit them from the side earlier on. And they all needed to poke at the same time with their range mechs and start working them. Since they were ER larges as well, they just needed to be way in the back and working them with just the ER large guys. Until the other mechs from 122nd move in close enough. And then perhaps, they could have the brawlers kind of hidden a little bit closer to the front. And as soon as they moved up, pounce on them with the brawlers. And then the whole team moves up.
So we are entering HPG Manifold Drop 3 now. I'm going to say right now in the stream, we are going to go ahead and do a giveaway. So this one will be for a premium time code. I'm actually going to give 2 away at the same time. So we'll do 2 drawings on this one. Type !raffle into the chat to enter. And to make things easier, definitely follow MRBC League on Twitch. It'll allow us to send the codes to you and it'll go into your inbox instead of dropping into your junk folder. So definitely follow us. Type !raffle for a chance at a 1-day premium code. And we're going to go ahead and pop into HPG real quick and see. I'll do the drawing afterwards. So let's pop over. Alright, both teams starting opposite of each other, so Alpha Charlie Lances. We've got 122nd bringing 5SS, 6K, Blackjack, 1X.
Avatar of what in your channel timed out?
Looks like we lost Avatar, that's a bummer. 5SS, Hellbringer, very brawly deck. Let's see what we've got over on the SCA side of things. Enforcer 4R, Jaegermech DD, most likely Dual Gauss? Ultra AC5, so DACA from him. I mean, I would have said Dual Gauss and a DD is a little confusing, but no, he's brought DACA, and that is the mech built for it. 2 of them. Interesting little deck we got here. We got the Zeus 9S. Let's see what flavor he brought. Medium laser, ER large. So it looks to me like they've got a mixed build. They're going to go for some long range poke. But they've got the DACA in there for if it gets hot in the brawl. We'll see how they play this out, though. Let's see what kind of positioning they pick. The whole time that these guys are moving into their position, 122nd has moved up through the HPG, and they're going to start taking a look through the gate. They're trying to find their enemy. Let's see if they can find them. Just trying to get vision right now. I think what they're at this point, they're expecting to look through the door and just get a flash of blue in their face, because that we've been seeing a lot of that lately on HPG. A lot of range decks in this, a lot of range mechs used effectively, but they're not really looking too aggressively right now. They got the Zeus up top, just trying to see if he sees anybody on any of the back walls, but they have no clue where SCA has moved. SCA has gone all the way across to the Bravo Lance side, and it looks to me like they're going to use this wall to get up and start raining some fire down. Because Bravo Lance is the area where you could get Atlases up this ramp, effectively. You can bring your entire team up there. You can't get them across the gate, but you have all of this space to work with. Not a lot of cover, but you know what? If your team's meant for it, you can start laying down that fire effectively. A lot of initial fire. They're not really together here, so I don't think they actually intended to go up on the wall. So a little bit of pre-fire, just a little bit of poke damage. They hit the Timberwolf pretty good down to 94%. Took a couple Gauss rounds on the Enforcer 4R, but that was kind of a bait.
Avatar of what joined your channel?
It looks to me like they are just trying to bait them through the gate at this point. They're trying to move back and set up some sort of semi-range line back here. Looks like you got disconnected, Avatar?
Yeah,
I'm
sorry about that. I lost my internet for a second.
No problem. I'm assuming you're out of the match then, right?
Yeah, I'm going to try to reconnect.
I'm not sure if you're able to reconnect to spectators, so you might have to sit this one out, unfortunately. So what we are seeing now, just to recap here, kind of a mixed range deck from SCA. They've got their ER larges, but they also have two DACA Jaegermech DDs. They're perched outside on the moon base side of things, and they got some initial poke damage in on 122nd, but they have now fallen underneath. They're down below the HPG, and they are going to talk about it and see what's the best way for them to attack. I honestly think this is another situation where they can probably just take it right to SCA and effectively pound them down. I mean, those two DACAs are kind of a wild card to see how they're able to handle that incoming charge, but there's a little bit of cover they can use to break the charge up here. I don't know if they think that maybe SCA is taking a wall position or something. They have the one Enforcer up there, but it's hard to say. What are they going to do? How are they going to break this? They're just kind of looking for info. They're talking about it. They got the 1X out there. He's going to take a look and see if he can get some early shots on that Enforcer. He does get a poke. Enforcer just jumped over the gate and is now on the opposite wall, so he's in a pretty good position to support his team up on top. He is in a place where I honestly think not a single 122nd mech can reach right now. Yeah, there's not a single. Maybe the Timberwolf could make that leap, but the Zeus, the Thunderbolt 5SSs, the Wolverine 6Ks, the Blackjack 1Xs, none of those guys can get to this part of the wall. So this Enforcer's in a very good position to support his team without really being threatened. So 122nd is coming out from underneath the HPG. They are moving up, and they are going to start gathering at the gate. We'll see how this charge goes. I have a feeling they do not want to go for the tie. This is going to get hot pretty damn quick, and it's going to be fun to watch. They're waiting for their slow Zeus to get out from the basement. So all the while this is happening, SCA seems like they're just taking a couple steps back. They got their DACA up in front. Let's see what the build is on this Evan Jag. He's up there with the DACA. Ultra AC-10s and small lays ER smalls, and then Ultra AC-10s and ER smalls on the Timber. So they have 4 DACA mechs on the front line, being supported by ER larges on the Enforcer 4Rs. The Zeus is bringing ER larges and mediums. The Crow has ER mediums and 1 ER large. That's an interesting build. So they've got like a 4-and-4 line here. They got their 4 DACA and their 4 ER large to support. So it'll be interesting with that mix to see how effectively they can hold off 122nd's charge, if in fact it does come. Still a lot of conversation going on. You can see him mulling over it. Not really taking any fire, so they have the opportunity to think about it. Looks like they're sending a blackjack around the outside, maybe just to see if they've retreated around, because they can't see main body. Neither team can see main body right now. So information is power here. I don't think they're necessarily going to do a split rush. That blackjack coming out the backside, he's got a long way to go. If they were retreating, this guy could easily get caught out and surprised and maybe killed here, but SCA is buttoning up, and you know, this blackjack could... This is actually his Chrisman. This is their drop commander, I believe. He is a solo flyer coming around the backside. That is ballsy move by him. This is either going to work very well, or this charge across this long gap here, if it's mistimed, that could cost him. At the same time, though, once they do opt to come through the gate, they're not going to be looking this way. They have no reason to look this way. Maybe somebody twists off some damage and sees a red flash in the distance, non-ECM blackjack as he comes around, but he's about to get a look at the Zeus right here. This is an interesting little maneuver here. Not sure how this is going to go down. It's yeah, he should be getting his first looks, maybe. See if the Zeus notices him. Somebody popped a shot over there. They know he's there now. Blackjack is saying, well, fuck that. Well, I know where their whole team is now. I'm out of here. He's heading all the way back around. And SCA is like, hey, there's a blackjack over there. Let's all go get the blackjack. If there's any time to move for 122nd, this is probably it, because they've opted to run their entire team out, getting some early shots at the Enforcer, but SCA is going for the blackjack that's no longer there. So that mixed things up a little bit. I'm not sure what to expect. The blackjack over here is peeking out the gate, and he's going to see in a second here that SCA is no longer there. I don't know if he got a good look there, though. So round and round she goes. 6 minutes remaining. 122nd clearly wants it. They're just trying to figure out the best way to get it. And the blackjack has come out. He did take a shot, and SCA is now coming back to their original position. They think that these guys are coming through the gate. It sucks having this Overwatch up here, though. This guy can kind of get the information for the rest of his SCA team. He can peek around and see, are they coming, are they not coming, so they can prepare for the charge. Not sure. They're lining right back up where they were. That other blackjack peeked around. Chrisman has now rejoined his group, so they're all together for the most part. There he is. So the two blackjacks up in front. They're just tight peeking this corner. I bet you there's a nice invisible wall right here that they can use to get vision, but not take much return fire. Hello, Enforcer. It's good tight peeks, information gathering peeks here. Gets a little bit of poke down to 99%, but hey, I'm still here. I think these guys back in the HPG are just trying to punish that Enforcer as much as they can from this tight angle. It's hard to hit all the way that far back, though, but he's down to 87%, so they've been putting something on him. 4 minutes, 50 seconds remaining. They are definitely drawing this out. I still think we're going to see a hell of a rush here in a little bit, but percentages look like they are in favor of SCA right now. But it's still pretty close and pretty early to really call anything at this point. SCA looks like they are moving up. You know, they are starting to come towards the gate. They're done messing around. You know, they need the win. They need a good solid win, so they're moving up to the gate. Not sure if the blackjack sees that. This Enforcer is doing a pretty good job at suppressing him. So this movement is so far relatively undetected at this point. Hard to say how this is going to go, though. This could go very badly for SCA. They're bringing their ER larges up into the battle here. But those DACAs are such a wild card. You know, those 4 DACAs alone, if they coordinate properly. Look at this slow walk they're doing. That's That's so cool. I don't know, man. They're all marching up to the front line together. That's pretty badass. It's about to get really shitty in here for one of the teams. So let's see how this goes. And they are doing a left echelon swing through the gate. And let's see if they can get out of each other's way. Here comes the battle. Big dock on that initial 5SS, down to 69%. They have taken the power position, and they're playing whack-a-mole with the DACA. Every time somebody peeks, they're whacking them really hard. Thunderbolt, or the Timberwolf, is taking a lot of damage there. Every mech that peeks is getting a whole bunch of Ultra AC5s to the face, but first Jaeger mech down to 27%. I don't even think he has weapons anymore at this point. Massive firefight going on here. They've marched through the gate. The Enforcer's up top. Not really peeking. I think he's pretty hurt. But they are up. They are putting their DACA on target. No kills yet from either team. Let's see how this goes. Percentages look very in favor of the 122nd, but it could still go either way. Their blackjack, one of their blackjacks is very fresh right now. Let's see if they can put those medium lasers on target. 1-1 down for either side, and another one. Oh, now we got a whole bunch of SCA mechs are starting to fall systematically here. But they did take down a second one. It's a bloody fight. They are working down both sides as hard as they can. Enforcer peeking out from the gate, not really effectively doing too much, and this front line for SCA is starting to fall. The last ones they're going to have left are those Enforcers, the one up on the gate and one outside the gate. All their brawlers are down at this point. All they got left down here is the ER Large Zeus. He is going to go down here, and not looking too good for SCA at this point. That was a brave charge, but did not go as well as I think they hoped, and ultimately I think that's because their deck was not suited for this type of combat. But 122nd knew that they had to, or they didn't have to go in. SCA had to go in. So SCA made the move. They needed the win. This Enforcer is about to get shot in the back. Brutal hit there. They're going to work him down from any angle, and he does go down. 8-2 decision in favor of 122nd. A good, powerful brawl. They did put out a lot of damage, but when you're playing that whack-a-mole, it's so easy to just take a step back and let somebody else start taking hits. And it looks like my Mech Warrior just crashed. Oh, I'm destined to not show you guys any freaking end-of-round screenshots, I swear to God. Well, I'm glad that it waited until the end of the match to crash.
PGA. Get on it, PGA.
Oh, boy. Alright. Well, that was an interesting one. We had Avatar's internet go out, and a very slow start to the HPG match, but ultimately SCA had to move forward. They had to be the ones to be the aggressors. I can't blame 122nd for drawing it out. It's what they need to do to win and secure first place. I think at this point they've secured first place. There's no way they can lose it at this point. So congratulations to 122nd taking first place in Division E. Good on you guys. I'm getting back in, and let me do that giveaway quick. Kind of falling behind here. Oops, I can't type. A lot of people entered the raffle, but I'm putting it into chat. A little bit all over the place here. I'm going to see where ISEN is. So we've gone through three drops now for 122nd versus SCA, but we are going to be looking at potentially switching over and taking a look at the main event, which is Isengrim versus Night Scorn.
When is that one supposed to start?
2 minutes ago. So I'm going to reach out to one of the leaders and see if I can find anything out here.
I was going to ask, how do I get that little box with the weapons for the mech up?
You hit P to unlock your crosshair or cursor.
Yeah.
Click on the mech and hit Enter key.
Enter. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just finishing up on that raffle right now. Looks like they're starting to get their lobbies together. And I actually don't think... Fortunately, I thought I had Knight Scorn's information into my system here, but I don't think I have it. So I'm going to see if I can find that right now.
I guess one good thing about 122nd winning the first 3 is that we know the conclusion.
Yeah, we know at this point that 122nd did in fact win Division E, so that's good for them.
Yeah,
Well
good
fought.
for them. Sorry, SCA, but if you guys have won the first 3, well, a lot of people might be upset. We can't see the last 2 games.
Yeah, I mean,
I would
guess that
definitely
works in our
love to
favor.
see an upset played through. But congrats to both teams on getting that far, first and second in their division. Always like to see that new blood.
I feel bad, but I don't have Knight Scorn's logo. Here, we'll use this one. Why not? Why not? I was not prepared. I've had a very interesting weekend. I anticipated having a lot of time to prepare for this one, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. I had yelling arguments with Best Buy. I had a kid puking. I had we rescued a kitten from the side of the road and took it to the local shelter. So that's cool. I'm not trying to get pity, but that was pretty weird. Oh boy.
Fun.
So let's see. Knight Scorn. Okay. I'm gonna punch this in.
Okay, so if we look at Division C for NA right now, Isengrim has reported 3 matches. Isengrim, sorry.
Yeah.
Has reported 3 matches, 13 drops won, 2 drops lost. So they're doing pretty well for themselves. Knight Scorn has reported 4 matches, and they have 19 drops won and 1 drop lost. So that's 2 drops for Isengrim, 1 drop for Knight Scorn lost right now. So theoretically, if Isengrim beats Knight Scorn 4-1 and they do like a 5-0 victory against their other opponent, they could take the division.
I want to say Isengrim's other opponent might have been a forfeit, so they're actually in a lot better position than the league table is showing right now.
So there would be 18-1.
But I want to say that these 2 teams are a lot closer than what it looks like right now.
All right, so to guarantee their victory, Isengrim needs to get a 4-1 victory right now. Any other results, or rather, if they get a 3-2, it depends on variables, right? Videos uploaded, commander assassination.
From the other team, then you're saying?
Say again?
That you're saying that
if we consider that the other team, like they have 1 unrecorded 5-0 right now.
Okay.
If we consider that, they're 18-2 for their score. Knight Scorn is 19-1, right?
Okay.
So if they win a simple 3-2, that'll put them even on victories. So it's going to come down to the variables.
Okay, cool.
If they win 4-1, as long as it's not, like a 1-0 victory or something, or they kill 1 mech and the other team refuses to move in, they should be good. But really, Isengrim cannot afford to draw.
Alright, I'm doing the first raffle here for the 1-day premium time. Congratulations, Darth Peanut MWO. I think you've won one before, but I'm not going to fault you for that. So congratulations to you. I will get that code.
He was playing for 122nd.
Oh, he was? Nice.
Yep, I believe so.
I'm going to do a second draw right away, and NF Given is going to win the second code. So congratulations to you too. I'm going to send you guys the stuff right now. So So will I do that? So yeah, we're kind of doing a little bit of reset here. We're gonna move away from the SCA versus 122nd. Well fought there. 122nd ultimately did take their division. They do have 2 more drops to play, but at this point, it doesn't really matter in the outcome. But we're switching gears. We're going to move over to Isengrim versus Knight Scorn here. These guys are pretty close to each other. Isengrim is currently behind, but we're going to see whether or not they were able to prepare for this fight enough to come out ahead. So this is going to be pretty hard fought. It'll be interesting to see how this goes. So I'm just going to go ahead and get that sent over to these 2 guys. So what do you think about this matchup here? I mean, do you know anything about the teams?
Well, my team, AS, Atari Scorpions, was scrimming Isengrim, trying to shape them up a little bit because they asked us.
And it's good to hear that they're preparing.
Yeah, actually, you were there for one of the practices.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's going to be hard fought. I'm sure Knight Scorn has also prepared just as much. And really, it's a toss up. They're both solid teams in their division. I think they both pretty much deserve to be in Division B, but we'll see. Really.
Awesome, and I will be doing another giveaway at the start of at the conclusion of Drop 1. So stick around, guys. Remember, it goes a lot easier if you guys follow MRBC League because the codes will go right to your inbox instead of going to your junk folders. So make sure you guys follow. Trying to figure out, I haven't gotten an invite from them yet. Let's check who the team leader of Knight Scorn is, if we can send him a message here. So bear with us as we transition over. This is the first time we've ever tried to effectively transition from one match to the other. You got to start contacting all new people and get invites from new people and stuff like that. So here we go. Philadelphia. Oh, his name's Philadelphia Collins. So sorry for the dead air there, guys. Just getting prepared right now. Kittens puke in Best Buy. Long story short, but we ordered for my the company that I work for, 75-inch television for a conference room, but we needed it right away for a Monday meeting, a very important meeting. And we set it up for Saturday delivery, and they were an hour late, and then they just finally, I called them, and they were like, "Oh, it's not coming anymore." So I was pretty pissed, and they did not do enough to try and win my favor, so we ended up getting the TV from somewhere else and canceled the order. So thanks, Best Buy. You guys suck. You guys suck very badly. So screw you guys. You didn't even try to save face. That's silly. Absolutely silly. So, but yeah, save the kitten on the side of the road. Now my wife is trying to convince me to adopt it. I like cats. I like dogs more. I have no pets. I have a 2-year-old. So it all comes down to prioritizing things, and we'll see which direction we want to take that. So we are getting into the lobby. Avatar, you should be receiving an invite, hopefully shortly here.
Not quite yet.
Nothing yet? No friend invite?
Nothing.
Alright, tossing that over to them. Thanks everybody for sticking around, getting to the main event here. This should be pretty intense stuff. So we are going all the way back to River City, where we will see yet again another 4400 drop, lights and mediums. You got anything yet there, Avatar?
Yeah, there you go. Just got a friend request.
Awesome. So I apologize that I don't have much about Knight Scorn here. I should have gotten that information from you guys a little bit sooner, but we'll see. Maybe they need no introduction. Maybe their guns will do the talking. We'll see. Suppose I can just toss over, just to be unfair. We'll go take a look at Isengrim's information here. That's a lot of people. Holy shit, that roster. So Isengrim. I've been playing with these guys a lot. Very good group of people. Enjoy their company and stuff. So, gonna root for them secretly. But you know what? I have to be objective, and may the best team win. So, Knights Scorn, kick their ass. Good stuff. So they are getting all their guys in the lobby. We've got Avatar and Spectator. So we are gearing up and starting to get ready.
Good to go.
Yep. I love that social window that keeps coming up. The social window is the main hub for engaging and organizing with other players. From here, you can manage your friends list, chat with friends, unit members, and group members, invite a friend to your unit, create a group or private lobby, and access the looking for group feature. You know, I'm glad that it tells us that every single time we click it. Thank you for continuing to tell me that, because it's so important that I know that after having played this game for as long as I have. And I had no clue that any of those things could be done in the social tab.
All right. Well, I agree with you. I don't think there was any need to read the entire thing, but
yeah, just trying to fill the air here while we wait for these guys to get in and ready up. Wish we could have caught drop 4 for SCA by now. Damn it! Should have stuck around. That's okay.
They were going through their drops fairly quickly.
Yeah, they were. That was pretty quick. We got through 3, and even still, I mean, some of their drops took 12 minutes, 13 minutes, whatever. But
yeah, long drops.
The time between their drops was very quick. They readied up incredibly quick. So that's a good skill to have. Getting the right people in the right mechs and stuff. They obviously had their spreadsheets set up, so props to both of those teams for doing that. So, wish I could have caught the entire match, but good fighting all around.
I think at this point in the season, for these teams that we're casting, they're ready to win, and so they got everything ready. Their strategies laid out. Their pilots assigned to their mechs ahead of time, and their meeting words or Google Docs or whatever they use to create their spreadsheets.
They've got their processes worked out by now.
Yeah, most certainly.
So one thing to note, I might as well say this, essentially the last shoutcast of the season will be taking place on Tuesday. It will be Rising Storm versus 228 for all the marbles. It's going to be a very tough fight for Rising Storm to catch up. 228 has been playing flawlessly this season. And so they are doing good, and they're looking to seal the deal on Tuesday. So hopefully you guys can all come by, watch that shoutcast. It should be a good fight regardless. Two very good teams, and they're gonna go all out at each other. So it's gonna be a great way to end the season. And I definitely thank you guys for coming by, catching my shoutcast. I hope you've enjoyed them. Definitely give us any feedback, anything you guys can do to help me improve and stuff like that. I will be back for Season 7 for sure, because I enjoy doing this. It's been very fun. Gotta thank PGI for giving me the opportunity to do this by adding the spectator tool into the game and making it publicly available. Thanks to all my co-casters who have come by and helped us out. MD's been doing a fantastic job. Radix stopped by. Avatar of What, thank you for coming by. You're doing a
no problem, my
job
pleasure.
Helping me out and stuff like that. So definitely thanks to everybody involved, and thanks to Doyle for getting me all the codes every single time, giving me a lot of feedback and stuff like that. He is the head administrator of MRBC. His girlfriend Shell, she did a fantastic job getting me the materials that I needed to put on the show and stuff like that. So hopefully we can come back and do even better next season, and we'll watch all new matchups and stuff like that, and it'll be exciting. It'll be good stuff. So definitely thanks everybody for coming by. Looks like we've got a green light. So we are heading into River City with the 4 lights, 4 mediums, 2 ECM drop, and we'll see what happens. We'll see how this compares to what we just saw in the Div E match. We're up to Div C now. So we're getting all loaded into there.
I'd be very surprised if I see 2 teams with that much range again, but it could happen.
Alright, once again, this is the New River City, so both teams are going to come zooming in on their drop ships. So right off the bat, we've got Night Scorn in blue, Team 1, Isengrim, Team 2 in red. I've got Enforcer 4Rs, Raven 4Xs, and Arc Cheetah, Firestarter A. So they got kind of a mixed deck here. Shadowcat. Let's take a look at some of these builds. What do you got over by Night Scorn while I pick up on these?
Okay, let me go over to... I was checking on Nice and Grim. Alright. Over on Night Scorn, looks like we have a Nova with 10 small pulse laser, Griffin 2N with 4 SRM4s and Artemis, 9 small pulse laser, Hunchback 4P. They look like they are full brawl, just ready to move in there. I believe this is going to be, 9 small pulse laser Stormcrow as well.
So on the Isengrim side, we do have a Raven 4X. Looks like he might be just kind of there to provide that long. Or actually, he's running the 2 large pulse laser builds. So Isengrim is not just full brawl necessarily, but lots of large pulse lasers, medium pulse lasers. They do have the small pulse fire starters, but they're going to try and sit their large pulses out in the water, and they're going to try and get some of that initial fire on target just to wear down the other team if they decide to charge in before ultimately going brawl. So not an ER large laser to be seen from Isengrim right now, which that's good. That's good news. But we're looks like Night Scorn is up by dropship. They're crossing into Upper City now. So this is going to turn.
Yeah, they're moving
brawl
towards
right
the Grove area. It looks like they're trying to get an angle. Really, I'm not entirely certain.
They might think that
spotted
Isengrim
the
is
enemy.
range. So if they've seen them out in water, they might think that they're in a range deck right now. But it's going to be a nasty surprise when you start receiving all the large pulse. We'll see if
Isengrim definitely has a lot more range.
It all comes down. Can they use that little bit of extra range effectively to take a mech down before it gets into this small pulse range? So that's going to be the key here. We'll see if they can execute. I mean, if everything goes according to Isengrim's plan, they'll take a mech down before Night Scorn is really able to effectively fire a true shot. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, we're not rolling, ER larges or anything like that, but large pulses have the range to be able to effectively do full damage at a decent reach. So we'll see how
they
this goes.
definitely have some kiting potential. The small pulse lasers on that Hunchback, the SRMs on that Griffin, not a whole lot of range there. You're going to have to be within 150 to get any real effect.
So Night Scorn is
that's a lot
now
of
crossing
distance.
back. I don't know if Isengrim sees that they've crossed back. Their scouts are kind of looking around. Oh, they do have one scout over here. This Arctic Cheetah is watching them. He's going to see them as they come around. If they come around, he's going to see them right about now. The call is going to be made right here. We'll see if Isengrim bursts into action. And they've started the rotation back across the water again. So good scouting there by the Cheetah to see that Night Scorn did double back and are now behind Citadel. So they're trying to keep at range. They're playing it as if they have ER larges, but they haven't fired a shot to give away their trump card yet, the fact that they have pulses.
Yep, and I like this rotation. They're getting really far away, though. Maybe too far away. You want to kind of encourage them to push in, make it seem like, perhaps maybe we can do this.
Yep, so I think that was the 4X just shot his initial pulses. So if they were paying attention, they saw that 4X is not running ER larges here. And we got some more pulse fire going off, so Cat's going to be out of the bag there. Night Score is running up, and they are going to try and jump on these lights here. We'll see if they can clear out and whether or not this initial trade goes well according to their plan. So here come all the pulses. They're kind of just flock shooting at this point. It's very hard to focus, but once those mediums come around, we'll see whether or not they can put effective fire in. Those pulses from that range aren't really doing much damage. They are getting some initial hits on the Nova. Let's see if they choose the Nova as their primary target. Here comes the fire down to 93%, and let's see if they can kill something.
They're going for
definitely closing. So the whole time this is happening, Isengrim is backing up, trying to just keep them at that optimal range. So this is a very fanned out line here as they charge into Isengrim's lines. They've switched over to the Hunchback 4P. They look like they're focusing him down 69%. Can they get him down in a timely manner? The Top Shot Tiger and the Fire Starter kind of got caught in the back there, so they're trying to run him down with the small pulses. But nobody's died yet.
Excellent job kiting so far.
So Isengrim is about to back up into the corner, and the main brawl is going to start, but the percentages are heavily in favor of Isengrim. They are just about to reach the small pulse range here, and here comes some of the initial shots from Night Scorn, but that Nova dead. Nailed. So they are down by 1. They did leg the Firestarter on the right flank. The small pulses are going to finish him off. It is even 1-1. They have entered into the primary brawl here. Let's see if Isengrim can focus and pull off the focus fire they need to start bringing down the Night Scorn's mechs as they start getting swarmed. Looks like they're all in kind of just individual fights here. They might be working on that Firestarter, but they got the Enforcer 4R's leg. They're going to start working down the other leg here. Just a massive scattering. Another Night Scorn mech does go down, but not much focus here. The 4P is the focus now. The 4P
goes down. All right, so 3-2 now.
Isengrim is just barely staying above it here. A lot of fresh mechs on their team, but Night Scorn is doing a very good job focusing one mech at a time. It is tied up 3-3, and then another Isengrim mech goes down. 4-4, very tight brawl. A lot of the Night Scorn mechs are extremely damaged here, though, so we'll see whether or not the freshness of the Isengrim mechs are able to finish the job.
Gas goes at 19%. 19% before he goes down. Truly tanking well. It's a really close fight. What a bloodbath.
They are trying to work down the Isengrim Stormcrow. He is tanking it as hard as he can, twisting it off as the Arctic Cheetah puts whatever he can into it, but they're slowly working him down. They do get the leg on the Cheetah. While that is happening, the Firestarter and the Shadowcat are duking it out in the back here.
Legs open on the Firestarter. It is legged, and the Cheetah finishes him off.
So this is going to go 8-6. 8-6 in favor of Isengrim. I'm sure they wish that went a little bit better. I mean, it's a win, but they gave up 6 deaths there to Night Scorn, so not as big of a win as they needed, but I'm sure they'll take whatever they can get at this point to try and set
I would
the
be perfectly happy if I was Mectadane right now, to be quite honest. One of the things that we went over when we were doing the practice, actually, was this particular drop deck. Mm-hmm. And we refined the strategy a couple times because he had some different ideas, and we found out what panned out, what didn't pan out, and he ended up going with this in the end, apparently. And I think he executed it, and his team executed it very well. They took almost no damage except for like a little bit on their lights, which were fighting the other lights and keeping them at bay.
Look at how well they were able to hold Night Scorn's mediums down below 100 damage apiece.
Yes.
Their entire match was fought with those lights. So the fact that they were able to take out those 4 mediums that early was huge. As I kind of called earlier, Top Shot Tiger got a little bit too aggressive there and ran up into the main charge of Night Scorn, and unfortunately for him, he wasn't able to get away fast enough to put the distance he needed to get back out of that small pulse range. So at that point, Night Scorn's entire team was able to focus on the Firestarter and take him down, and he did not do very much damage. Had Top Shot Tiger been in a better position there, and if he hadn't been that aggressive, it may have equaled, a couple of saved mechs by the end there, keeping his mech alive. It could have been, an 8-4 decision, or an 8-3 decision, or something like that. So that one mistake could have cost them a couple extra mechs, unfortunately. But still comes out in a win, and well fought by ISEN. A very complicated, not complicated, but a very hard to pull off strategy, using those large pulses to try and wear down the incoming brawl. They kept their distance well, and then once their back was up against the wall, they brawled very well against those lights and were able to come ahead. So that was well fought. That was exciting.
Yeah, that Raven 4X with the large pulses, it's got the reduced duration on the large pulses as well. I believe it's 30%. That makes it so it's like pretty much firing a small pulse laser in any other mech.
So we're going to go ahead and do, just to cut in here, we're going to do another raffle. So type !raffle for another chance at a day of premium time code. Make sure you follow MRBC League to make it easier to send you the code. We're going to do that now, so go ahead and type !raffle into chat, and we'll go ahead and finish that after the replay is done here. But go ahead and continue, sorry.
Yeah, my point is that it's still very effective against light mechs, because it does a lot of damage, and it has a very short duration. So you only have to hover over the enemy's leg or whatever for a very short amount of time. And it's got about a 550 meter range. Mm-hmm. So, you can kite with it, and you can do a lot of damage with it in these light drops, and I think it was a very good choice by them. And I think it paid.
Yep, definitely.
And then they had, like I was talking about earlier, they had lights that were just kind of content to protect their mediums while their mediums were running away and putting fire on the enemy mediums. And by the time that Night Scorn finally did catch up to them, they had a bunch of 60 to 80% mediums. Maybe one of them went down. I can't remember. We'll see here in a second in my replay. Mm-hmm. It's because the push is happening right now, and they just took so much early damage that they weren't really able to recover from it. That's like that 2 mech difference.
Like, ISEN might have started their retreat a little bit too soon. I feel like they should have held their ground until Night Scorn got closer to their optimal range, and then started doing their backup retreat, because they got almost all the way to the other side of the map and then got stuck up against the borderline, and then the brawl happened. I feel like if they had waited, held their ground a little bit longer, and then started falling back, they would, because when they started moving back, they were doing like 10% damage. I mean, they were doing purely scratch damage, not a lot there. Mm-hmm. And I understand
agree with that.
Then it's like, we gotta go. If they had waited a little bit longer, they could have been doing that full damage, or at least close to it, for longer before allowing the other team to jump on them with the small pulses. So that's the only, besides the light getting caught out, it's really the only other criticism I have to try and clean it up a little bit. Like I said, though, came away with the win. They got to be happy with how they did here. So we're seeing
I definitely wouldn't complain about an 8-6 win at this point of the game. They can definitely win 4 more drops still.
Yeah, we saw some very good
when I was talking to Mac,
Night Scorn there. They were definitely showed up to leg day. They were doing very well on legging those mediums.
Yeah, for how much damage they took once they actually joined the brawl, they were doing very well.
And those lights did a fantastic job. I mean, considering, ISEN did a lot of damage and took those mediums out very well, those 4 lights that remained did a lot of work and really kept it close. So mad props to the lights for Night Scorn. You guys did a fantastic job making it as close as it was.
And Gas Guzzler did an excellent job rotating out in his light. He was just, I think, at 19% when he went down in an XL mech. Both his legs, he got the cherry red, both side torsos open. Basically, hard-working fire starter that kept him in the game as long as, to get that 8-6 even.
Oh, and that fire starter at the end was able to take out that the Shadow Cat killed himself. Skrull killed himself. I
think you really got to watch out for that.
You got to watch out for that. I mean, he didn't have to die there. That mech was so hurt, and you had help coming, that he didn't have to die there. That's kind of one that I bet he wish he could have taken back. But yeah, that was freaking close. That was a close decision right there. So
and I was talking to Mech, and this was the drop that they feared most. So I'm looking forward to seeing some strong play from ISEN for the rest of the night. We'll see if Night Scorn can pull it back, but Night Scorn was a little bit ahead by one drop, before the start of this match. So they can afford to lose this one if they can come back and take some of these later drops here. If they can take 3, they seal the deal, I believe. If they take 2, it's going to be close. If they take 1, they're probably going to lose the division. Or, I mean, they'll come in second, but they won't come in first.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that this is a sign of what's to come, though, because I kind of was watching this match. I knew that this match was going to be close, and I'm hoping that that's what actually happens. I like these knockdown, drag-out kind of fights here for all the marbles. So I know Isengrim has a long climb to go. If they start doing really well and winning and things are going in their favor, it's still exciting because one fuck up can totally, make it that much harder to come out on top for Isengrim. So these guys are going to be playing as hard as they can every single drop, and Night Scorn is going to be there and they're going to answer. So this is going to be some exciting stuff to come up here. So we are going to be going into that Canyon Network drop, and we've been seeing a lot of a lot of interesting fighting going on. A lot of sloppiness, I think, tends to happen on this map. It's a very technical map. It needs to be executed properly, or it all falls apart. So we'll see what happens here with these two strong teams. Is who's gonna blink first? Who's gonna make the first mistake? And the dominoes really start falling when you make a mistake on this map.
I think a lot of people like range on Canyon Network. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw both teams go heavily range. A lot of times, what the game comes down to is one team takes a bit more mid-range, one team takes a little bit more long-range, and what range are the teams engaging at? I've had teams engage me with medium-range weapons at 600 meters before when I got a lot of clan large pulse lasers and Wolverines, and it did not work out well for them. And I've also had teams, use that effectively against me by closing in and just being able to do more damage per shot.
Yeah, it really comes down to who can set the tone for this match. I mean, if we see some really bad trades right off the bat, it's hard to come back from that effectively because you feel like you've got to stay down more, and the other team then has control of the map. They have control of the pace of the battle, and then you have to fight for that back, and it's a hard climb to get back into the groove of things. So it's very easy for early mistakes to really compound here and end up costing a lot of damage early on. So we'll see, if one team ends up playing whack-a-mole, can they leverage that to try and will the team that's peaking a bunch, will they land their shots better? Will the other team then fall back and start playing whack-a-mole? It's interesting to see how this will go, but both teams are ready, so we're gonna get started here on drop 2. This is 2 lights, 4 mediums, 2 heavies. So they do still have scouts, but they're getting a little bit heavier in the tonnage. Alright. Here we go. And ladies and gentlemen, we are nominal. Let's go take a look over here at Isengrim. We got some Firestarter S's, the medium pulses, Enforcer 4R, large lasers. They got ER larges on their Wolverine 6K. Let's take a look at some of their other mechs. They got some gridiron. Stormcrow, Ebon Jaguar, Timberwolf.
So it seems as if Night Scorn has a more mid-range deck, a lot of clannier mediums, regular large lasers. They have a bit more range with their Wolverine.
That's a Night Scorn and the blue team?
Yeah, Night Scorn blue team. They got 3 large, 2 medium Wolverines, so you can safely say they're looking to get a little bit closer as far as range teams go.
Yes, Isengrim, they only have, I believe, 1 ER large mech right now, and it's their Wolverine. But the rest of them are doing a lot of ER mediums, larges and stuff like that. So we'll see if their Wolverine can set up at extreme ranges and start punishing them, and maybe keep them pinned down. I mean, that's a good mech where you can kind of just sit there and wail on them, not necessarily do a lot of damage, but you can make them think like, I can't peek this corner anymore because that Wolverine's just laying into me. So we'll see if he can find the position that'll work best for him. Fortunately, I think doing left-handed peek with a right-handed mech is not going to work too well, but we'll see if he can move where he needs to go to start putting that fire downfield. So both teams just kind of grimacing at each other right now, trying to read each other's actions. Everybody pretty much sitting out of their optimal ranges. But Isengrim is doing the initial move up to Theta here. They're closing the gap. So they're doing a little bit more of a power position. They're a little bit more exposed. We'll see if they can get Night Scorn to button up and take away. But everybody's starting to peek all at once here. So who's going to win this initial encounter? Because that might set the tone for the rest of the match.
So both teams just peeking here. We got Night Scorn over in Charlie 4. We have Isengrim closer to Theta. Neither team really looks heavily willing to commit right now. They're just kind of testing each other's defenses, trying to figure out where each other's at. I mean, really at this point, it's withered down to just a couple mechs poking and peeking.
So the Night Scorn 4X is the one that's furthest away, definitely utilizing his longer range. But he does have a couple of fire starters, I believe, kind of just keeping an eye on him over there. They may decide to try and move up and do something. We'll see. But that 4X is going to be a definite thorn in Isengrim's side here. They can't really punish him enough to get him to duck back. Those lights will have to be the wild card there.
Now that Raven though is playing it smartly. It's not exposing itself. It's not going so far out of the way that its friendlies can't turn around and just fire on its position and cover him. But it looks like Isengrim is starting to move. They've sent some mechs down into the valley.
Their movement, though, is not going unnoticed, though. So Night Scorn definitely knows that they're at least pulling out of Theta right now. Some little poke damage coming through, but Night Scorn is going to take advantage of this, and they are moving up to take Theta now. So we've effectively kind of traded spots a little. Not necessarily traded spots, but Night Scorn is moving up to that open central area and punishing the Timberwolf for peeking there. So we'll see if Isengrim can find an effective place, but Night Scorn is playing the power position right now. They don't need cover. Anything that peaks gets punished here, and
it looks like they've pretty much taken Isengrim's old position. I'm sorry.
Yep.
And
it's so brutal when you lose the confidence on your peaks and stuff. Night Scorn can just stand there and wail on you every time you peek. It's so hard to steal that back from Night Scorn. So as we've been seeing, the trade's going very poorly for Isengrim right now. Every time they peek, they're getting shot by multiple mechs. They're very spread out, and everybody's kind of trying to get their angles on Theta. We'll see if that spreading out helps, but they're taking some shots from that Raven on the left side. I don't even think they know where it's coming from right now. If I were them, I'd be getting those fire starters on that Raven right now, at least to get him off of that rock. He's going to just continue putting fire in from the side. Eben Jaguar is getting wailed on right now.
The thing is, they can't really just have their fire starters sit there and do nothing like they are right now.
They need
because
to get
the
over
rest
that
of their
Raven.
team is losing the trade. They need to count on these fire starters to be able to get some pokes somehow and turn it around. And they need to stop trading individually. Mm-hmm. They need to be able to all trade as a team. They're so hurt right now that it's going to be really hard for them to come back from this. But perhaps if they can set up a firing line and draw Night Scorn into it, they can get a pick or two that starts a rush. Or if they could just get a pick with the fire starters, that would be fine as well. It looks like the fire starters couldn't be farther away from the battle, though. They're playing it really safe.
Raven's actually got large pulses. I didn't catch that. I thought he was ER large, but still has pretty good range with those large pulses. But he was definitely harassing on that left side very well, and nobody really knew where it was coming from. That would have been a very good application for those fire starters to flush him out, since he was so far away from the rest of his team. But this is exactly what Whack-A-Mole looks like. Every single time an Isengrim mech peeked out, he took multiple mechs worth of fire and was not even able to really return effective fire back at them. So as we've been seeing, the percentages for Isengrim are just starting to bleed out, and things very heavily in favor of Nightscorn. Even though no mechs have died yet, still not looking too good for Isengrim, because we will start seeing pretty shortly here, once the fighting starts up again, 1 mech, then 2 mechs, then 3 mechs start falling, and they've got a long way to go to take out any NS mechs. But you know what? NS might make a mistake. They might leave somebody out. They might get punished. We'll see what happens there. So Isengrim's going to run across this gap, but they might start taking some fire from the Wolverine here. This is going to be brutal right here. They're going to just start getting punished as they move across the gap. Unless their team can...
They're not fully set up yet, though.
They're not fully set up. We'll see if the lead mechs with Isengrim can keep them buttoned up. They actually got through that okay. Their front guys put some fire on them and kind of forced Nightscorn to step back a little bit, and that allowed the rest of their team to move. So that actually worked out all right for them.
So that wasn't bad. They do have a chance now to get into a good position and kind of reset the playing field with just lower percentages.
Oh,
if
their
they can
fire
keep some of their
be watching
damage
that
max
backside
alive.
though. This fire start is coming in aggressively on the left here. They need to back up the rest of their team. Don't leave them behind. He's watching their movement at the very least. He's not close enough to do any damage, but Nightscorn is answering this movement, and they're charging across Theta. We'll see. Can Isengrim get up there and start putting the fire on target? Are they going to stay buttoned up? Are they going to run out there with their Timberwolf and get completely shredded?
That Timberwolf's going to go down.
Oh, he got around the corner, though. He's hurt as hell, and he's taking a little bit of poke damage from that fire starter, but he is hurting. He is
he
very
is almost down. He has a 34%. I'm pretty sure he's lost his side. He may be down to a laser.
Massive fire coming on the right side. Oh, but they did take the first mech down. The Blackjack goes down. Great shot by Isengrim there. That thing's still not looking very good for Isengrim. They can't get cocky, but taking those lasers off the field is huge. That is huge. They need to keep up that focus.
A lot of one-shot mechs on Isengrim's side, though.
Yep, absolutely. And Timberwolf is very hurt. He could go down at any point. The Ebon Jaguar very hurt. The Stormcrow steps out. Mech the Dane got a little bit too aggressive around the right side. Took a very big punishing. He slips out just barely, but he's at 38%. Not looking too good for him either. It's going to be tough to effectively... That 96% fire starter needs to get aggressive on somebody, and he needs to start putting some effective fire down. I mean, he's playing very passively, but his entire team is getting shredded while this is happening.
If he waits until the last second, he's just going to get focused down. So he needs to take the opportunity now to try and find some angles where he can harass 80 mechs.
So I think what's happening here is Isengrim is up by 1, and I think they're trying to use this to try and goad Nightscorn into making a move. I don't know if that's going to work, though. They're trying to force Nightscorn to be the one that picks. Oh, and they do get another one! The Timberwolf goes down. That's excellent news for them. So what they're doing is they're backing up, they're setting up a firing line, and they're forcing Nightscorn to be the ones that are doing whack-a-mole. They're lining up their firing line, and every single time a Nightscorn peaks, they're trying to punish him with every gun they get, and they get another one! They are playing this so well right now, despite being so damaged. That is awesome, but this could still go either way. They are so damaged right now.
And you know what? Even though their percentages were a little bit higher, I think the components were focused a little bit better. Isengrim did a little bit better job of getting the damage onto the right components. That Timberwolf went down. I think he might have been at like 73%.
And another one goes down.
Another one goes down.
That is insane. Look at, we got 25%, 27%, 32%, and they are keeping their mechs alive. This is incredible. Mech the Dane does go down in his Stormscrow. The fire starter comes up on the left side and is able to take him out. This might come down to the Raven goes down. It is 6-1 in favor of Isengrim. I did not think it was going to go like this. I cannot believe how well they were able to put that fire down, taking advantage of the being up early by 1 mech, dropping back, forcing Nightscorn to move up. That was a good call by them, and it worked so well. And they were able to keep those damaged mechs in the back, protected. They still have to close the deal, though. I mean, they're continuing their backing up. They're trying to use their range to their advantage. They're trying to protect their really damaged mechs, moving them all the way into the back. But holy cow, that was amazing. That was some intense
Yes,
gameplay right there.
very well done. Very well done. But I do have to point that right now, even, the Isengrim could still lose. I mean, it's still possible. They have some neutered mechs. The Firestarter superatomic airplane is very fresh. He's probably their best.
He
bet
needs to
close
be
this
their
whole
front
thing out.
man. He needs to be the one drawing the most attention, and he needs to be putting his shit on target. Holy shit! I mean, like, is this the Wolverine still has his arm? He's at 72%. These two mechs, if they play it right in the last 4 minutes here, could still pull this off. It could potentially only take one shot per mech to take them down for a majority of them. That they could, even if they get a loss here, they could kill so many Isengrim mechs to finish this. But we'll see. Can Isengrim put the shots on target to finish these pretty fresh mechs off?
Oh, and
here comes the Wolverine around that side. He's got to peek with the right hand, and he does get the shot in. That's what I'm talking about. Is that's what they need to do to be able to come back from this.
Everyone's one shot. So
Everybody's
they only
one
need
shot.
To get one shot.
That Wolverine is so dangerous. So dangerous. Super Atomic kind of tucking up here. He's going to get potentially shot.
He might get pounced.
But he's going in aggressively on the Firestarter. Maybe.
Oh, the rest of his team is moving in.
Here comes the Wolverine for a second peek. Can he take out the gridiron? He's out there aggressively. He does get the gridiron. And he is tanking very well. This is exactly what I was talking about. Those mechs were so hurt. Let's see if they can finish the Firestarter. They get the leg on the Firestarter. He does go down. The last one is the Wolverine. Those Firestarters need to get onto him, and they need to finish the job right here, or they're going to lose another mech. And here they go. They're going in. They're putting it on him, and they do get it. 8-4 in favor of Isengrim. Did not see that coming based on the start of that. I could not have wrote that one better if I tried. I can't believe that. Just from our spectating perspective, that was the most intense shit that I've ever seen in MechWarrior in a comp match. So well played by Isengrim. Even
what a game, baby.
They were trading so poorly. They must have been spreading it well. They must have been putting the shots where it counted on the opposing team, because when shit hit the fan, 1 mech drops, 2 mech drops, 3 mech drops, 4 mech drops that put them so far ahead. That was crazy shit, man. We gotta watch. And
you know what? Shout out to Odin Steed in that Eben Jaguar Prime, playing on ISEN's side. He got focused early. He took a lot of early damage, and he tanked it out. I saw him a couple times throughout the match in that Eben Jaguar. He eventually lost all his weapons, but he tanked it out so much that and did 507 damage. Really, 3 kills. Really pulled it out for ISEN there. On Nice Shots side, Jamie Red. Night Scorn. Oh, sorry. I saw NS, and I'm just...
That's fine.
Sorry, guys.
Get your replay as quick as possible here, because that was such a long fight. Continue talking, but right there we just saw the blackjack went off. That tilted things in favor of Isengrim, because they smartly backed up, set up their firing line, and kind of forced Night Scorn to be the ones to peek. The whole time, Isengrim was the one that were behind cover, and they'd peek out, and they'd get punished for it. As soon as they took that blackjack out, they all backed up, and now Night Scorn is the one that has to peek into a plethora of Isengrim mechs, and they put their shots where it counted, and we just started seeing Night Scorn mechs drop, even though they had the percentage advantage from the start. So that was intense. That blackjack kill was exactly where this started to turn in favor of Isengrim.
Yeah, definitely a bad early game for ISEN. They took a lot of damage. They didn't return a lot of damage. Things were looking very shady for them. They tried to remaneuver. They maneuvered all the way around the map, pretty much, trying to get back to their original position so that they could fight and be comfortable in a firing line there. And Night Scorn just chasing them, didn't set up their firing lines in time to catch them as they're crossing that gap there. I believe it's Echo 4. And then eventually getting that pick, ISEN getting that pick, and forcing them to crash onto them. And I think the way that Night Scorn, or the angle rather, that they were taking to try to engage ISEN is what killed them, because they had to go around that corner, and ISEN's just sitting there with all their mechs ready to fire. so they could just, crush whatever mech peaks. And it's really hard because there's not like a lot of positions, so you can peak several mechs simultaneously around that Charlie 4 corner. So once they retreated around that corner, it was going to be very difficult. I think Night Scorn should have taken their time a little bit more, trying to figure out exactly how they want to approach this, how they want to go at it.
But like we called it though, even though Night Scorn was down and only had 2 mechs remaining, like we said though, Isengrim was so hurt that one well-placed shot without like a return Gauss shot to the chest or something, one well-placed shot can kill any mech here. And as we saw, that Wolverine came to play. Now, he was peeking left side with a right-handed mech, but he was doing it well. I mean, he stepped out far enough to get the shot in, and we saw 1 mech drop, 2 mech drop, and it started coming back. But that's when Isengrim finally got their fire starters engaged on the other fire starter, got the leg, took him out, and were able to swarm the Wolverine. I think Isengrim could have gotten their fire starters a little bit more involved, a little bit more aggressively there to seal the deal earlier on. The fire starters were pretty fresh, and they were playing extremely passive for a majority of this entire match. But they were able to be the ones that could go in and finish the job without worrying about getting caught out in one shot, though. So those were key players. I just think that they could have gotten a little bit more involved earlier on to not allow it go from a 6-1 in favor of Isengrim to allowing them to take a couple extra mechs for it, because the mech kills really make a difference here. Isengrim needs every kill they can get. Obviously, they're getting the 8 kills, but they also need to keep Night Scorn from getting these kills because it's keeping them in the running. So they need to play, an 8-0 decision in favor of Isengrim would go a long way here, and they really need to be hunting for that. So cleaning it up a little bit would help a ton, but that was some of the most intense shit that I've seen in a long time, and I've almost lost my voice from that one. That was so exciting. That was so fun to watch. I hope everybody.
I love that match. That was an amazing match to watch, and I'm so glad I was able to cast that one. Thanks to both teams for putting forward that performance. It's kind of a shame on Night Scorn's side because they started out so strong.
They're going to definitely consider that
as comeback from ISEN.
That's going to be the one that got away for them. I mean, I've had those matches where you start out strong. The one that always comes to my mind is against 228, actually, week 1 on HPG Manifold. We came up ahead, and actually that one got away too, but the one I'm thinking about, it was actually against Antari Scorpions. You guys sent like your 4 mediums down on the base wall, and we ambushed them and took them out, and we were up, I want to say, like 5-0, and then we decided to charge your wall instead of buttoning up in the basement, and you punished us for us, and we lost that one. That's the one that comes to mind when I say that that one got away, and that's because we decided to challenge you guys, and it was a huge miscall on my part, and you guys punished us for it. So,
well, I mean, part of the problem was really people hadn't been getting on the wall, especially on the lighter drop decks at that point when I came up with that drop deck. And it was really something experimental. We didn't get a lot of time to test it. I was actually using my friend's computer. And it was kind of sloppy, right? You guys crushed our mechs that we left down on bottom. But, yeah, we were able to bring it back. And should you have probably have ran underneath? Probably.
Absolutely. Yeah. There was no way that I should have challenged
I'm glad you didn't, because it was a great match, I thought.
Yeah.
At least that was a great fight.
But that's definitely one that got away. And here, I bet you Night Scorn is thinking, we had that one. We let it get away. But you know what? At the same time, they don't necessarily know how hurt Isengrim was, but they had to have known that they were putting the hurt on Isengrim. And until they come back and watch the shoutcast, they're going to be like, oh my god, it was so close.
Oh, here we go.
But yeah, here we go. We're popping into HPG Manifold Drop 3. Oh my god, that was so good. What a show.
Well, I'm hoping for another one like that this time. I would love to see another one like that.
Now, Isengrim definitely can't get cocky, though. They still need these wins, so we'll see whether they can pull it off here. Let's go take a look at the
Okay, so I'm taking a look over here at Night Scorn's side. Let's see, we got a Zeus with 3 large Gauss, Hellbringer, 4 medium Gauss, 7 medium Pulse, Thunderbolt, 5 SS, 2 of them. It looks like they're going a little bit more closer range to mid range. They got a Wolverine 6K with 3 large, 2 medium. They got a Storm Crow. Wasn't quite able to see what the Storm Crow has, but yeah, it looks like they're closer range.
So over here on the Isengrim side, they are ER large across the board. They are coming to put the hurt on Nightscorn, but they need to be careful. They can't afford a tie. They need the win. That might work against them here. We'll see if Nightscorn plays aggressively. If Nightscorn plays aggressively, it could very well work against them here. But honestly, they don't need to. They're in a position that they don't have to charge this, and that might work against Isengrim.
They got an interesting Timberwolf build here with 2 Gauss, 3 mediums. There can't be a lot of ammo for that on Isengrim's side. So they're going to really have to watch out for any early shots and make every single shot count for that mech. So it's not just a total waste of a heavy slot.
Yeah,
potentially very
bit of early
powerful,
pokes going on,
but
nothing really happening there. So they know where each other are. They know each other's intentions at this point. I don't know. If I was Nightscorn and I want to be a dick because I totally did it to Seraphim and the rules allowed me to, I would button up and make Isengrim come in. And that sucks for Isengrim. I mean, they came to work this map the way that a lot of people have been, but at the same time, they can't afford the tie, and they should have kept that in the back of their minds when they came into this.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, it's a very strong tactic, but I mean, what are they going to do if they have to move in? I mean, it's not entirely impossible.
Well.
It's not entirely impossible that they can get in the HPG and just start working from the edges, like start rotating around the inside and maybe win that way. But they're going to have to be really careful not to get too close. On the other hand, it's not entirely impossible for a Nightscorn to attack them. If they can get a couple mechs on one side kind of drawing their attention, while the majority of their mechs just kind of make a flanking run as quickly as possible on the other side, and then just run up to them, power position, get within their optimum range, ER medium range, and start wrecking. I mean, that is possible. I've done it to teams before. I've had teams do it to me before. It's just not an extremely easy thing to do. So I think Eisen's going to have to kind of, show themselves and kind of give Nightscorn a little bit of a better chance to get in this game so that they're encouraged to move in and get this fight happening.
So I just, since we were kind of sitting here just waiting things out anyways, I went ahead and did the raffle, so congratulations to the winners of the one-day premium time codes. After this drop, we're going to do another drawing, and I think we'll do a mech bay for that one, actually. We'll do more premium time codes. What's that?
I got the cursor bug.
Who does? You do?
Yeah, I do.
What's the cursor bug?
I didn't know you could get it in spectator mode, but apparently you can with the using P for the pointer.
What's happening?
Heads up, PGA. Well, the pointer just doesn't go away.
So you move the pointer and it moves your camera also.
Yeah, exactly.
Try going into a cockpit and then coming back out. Maybe that fixes it.
No, the pointer's still there.
My very first shoutcast.
No, coming back out fixed it. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, my very first shoutcast that happened, I was like, "Is this really what spectator mode's like? This is horrible." But
and it looks like Eisen is starting to realize, we can't sit here forever. They're not taking the bait. We got to make something happen. Let's start moving a little bit closer as we consider our options.
Absolutely.
And we also have the Timberwolf, Odin Steed, starting to get some shots from up there. He's at 95% now.
He wasn't really able to return anything effectively, so they're trying to at least shift and try and put some shots down. So, I mean, Nightscorn is not fully buttoned up. They're not, like, sitting in the basement. They're still kind of out there. So, I mean, potentially Isengrim could work a corner and maybe start putting some shots in, and then it all comes down to how they react when Nightscorn does aggressively push. Are they able to get their fire effectively on target? Are they able to keep their heat management proper? Are they able to back up and try and draw it out? I mean, if they can do several little skirmishes that put them a little bit further every time, that could go well for them. But if Night Scorn commits to a brawl, it's going to be hard fought, definitely.
Yeah.
But they're not without range. I mean, they how much, what, they got the 2.6Ks? Is that about it for Night Scorn, or do they have...
Yeah, I mean, they got ER mediums and some other of the clan mechs, but the Thunderbolt 5 SSs, you know, they're like 360 meter range. They can't really be fighting ISEN right now, but ISEN is closer to the gate. If Night Scorn can move and get close to the gate undetected, that's not an unbearable distance for them to close in, right? And those, even though it's a cool map, ISEN's mechs are going to be running hotter and doing less damage as they get in.
Yeah, and I was watching Odin up here. I mean, that was just essentially pointless. He just gave up more of his mech when he didn't need to. Did not put the shots down range. I mean, with the dual Gauss and ER mediums, I don't know what he expected to do against the, you know, large lasers that they Night Scorn brought and stuff. So that was kind of did not go the way that he was hoping. Maybe if they put an ER large mech up there or something, he might be able to have gotten some trade in. But all he did really is just take shots.
Waste a bit of ammo, and he doesn't have a lot of ammo. He only has 19 shots remaining for his Gauss rifles, and then he's down to 3 ER meads. I'm not 100% on this build here. I'm not gonna lie. I think, you know, he probably could have done either the 4 ER large timber or maybe even the 2 large pulse and Gauss and just work a little bit closer than the ER large mechs. But we'll see. I mean, there's still plenty of chance for him to shine in this particular match if he doesn't waste too much more ammo.
He probably should just be focusing on the brawl that eventually is going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with that. And Night Scorn is just happy to sit there for now. They know it's potential suicide, or I mean, they're not confident in pushing out there. Perhaps, especially after losing 2 already, they didn't really expect to lose that last one. They want to see ISEN be more aggressive. They feel a little bit on the back foot, but they know that ISEN can't really afford to draw. But honestly, I don't know if it is all that detrimental for ISEN to draw at this point, because having 1-2, that kind of puts them up 1 over Night Scorn.
I thought they needed to 4-1 Night Scorn.
They needed to 4-1 Night Scorn, but only if Night Scorn doesn't get that extra victory, they don't actually need to 4-1 them, right?
You know, I'm seeing in chat somebody saying that somebody says that as of now, based on their count, you know, because the wins are one thing, but they're saying that ISEN is actually ahead by 75,000 C-bills right now, and if that's the case.
Oh, really? Because of the mechs?
I think it's because one of the teams forfeit against Isengrim, and that means Isengrim essentially gets a full win, and I don't think that was actually entered yet. And when it does, I mean, that's full value. That's the most C-bills you can possibly get.
Well, I mean, just counting off the wins, without that match entered, Isengrim has 13 wins. With that match entered, they would have 18 versus Night Scorn's 19. So I'm thinking just Isengrim probably killed a lot more mechs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that I'm sure that the forfeit is nice because, you know, you get the commander mech kill, you get the heavies and assaults kills and drops 4 and 5, you get the full, video submission, you get everything. So that works in their favor to bring it a lot closer than it needs to be. I mean, when you said 18 and 19, was that including the 2 existing Isengrim wins from this match?
No, right now Isengrim would be 20 and Night Scorn would be 19. That's why I was saying that, like, if they drew it right now, it actually wouldn't be too bad for ISEN either. Okay. Because they're actually ahead after winning 2 matches, right?
Well, hopefully they're not listening to me and taking my advice then, because I thought that they were further behind than they actually seem to be, and in fact, people are saying, including you, that they are technically ahead now, and so a draw. I mean, that's funny because that means that Night Scorn is the one that needs to move because they can't afford the draw. I mean, they probably could just draw it out, and just go to the next match. I mean, both teams will take a C-bill penalty. But I don't think third place is anywhere near threatening either of these teams.
If they draw this one, they can win the next two and still win first place.
Yeah.
Or they can win one and lose one, and then it will come down to the various variables like commander assassination, heavy, and assault destruction, and video uploads, and like how many mechs are destroyed. But it looks like Night Scorn has realized that they need to move in. And they're getting ready to do their push here. Oh wait, no, they're going back in. Not quite yet. They still have that Thunderbolt and the Zeus all the way on the left flank. But I mean, it does look like they were thinking about moving with at least half their force around the right side. Kind of really wish that they did do that because I mean, I don't think our audience wants to sit here for 15 minutes and nothing happens.
Well,
Isegrim, totally content to sit here.
Yeah,
like
I
your
mean,
paint jobs.
Like I gotta apologize to our viewers that I was that wrong. I thought Night Scorn was a lot further ahead than they actually are, and now the fact that basically those two wins, from what I'm hearing, puts Isengrim on top. You know, everything that I've said up until this point during this match has basically been a lie. So I apologize for that. Oops. So that basically tells me that this is going to go to a tie, and that's a shame for us viewers. That sucks, but can you really fault them? Neither team really necessarily needs this one, and to charge in there would be suicidal.
I mean, it's the map design, really.
Yeah.
I think, I mean, it's just against you, right? You have to play extremely well to be able to assault the outside with a shorter range deck. And I think they might be even too short range with those Thunderbolts. Maybe if they gotten them up right now, right, and the Hellbringer and the Wolverine were like kind of turning the corner, and it's like, boom, the entire team rush out there, kill those two mechs with the Thunderbolts while everyone's rushing and shooting at the mechs in the back. They could do it, perhaps, but it's not something that's easy. It's not something that like any drop commander should take lightly. And so we're just going to see a draw probably here.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see if somebody makes a mistake. It's hard to say, but, you know, I mean, yeah, draws are boring, and I understand that, but somebody was paying attention, and they're playing by the rules, so I'm
ISEN's
sure...
moving in, though, a little bit.
Interesting. Okay. Maybe they'll catch
Oh, and they're starting to trade.
This could still be a match.
This is kind of late for this, though. They're not going to take out all the mechs.
Maybe they're just
no matter
trying to
what
get
happens.
one mech to make it so they don't get the penalty, which would be a pretty huge swing.
It's true, but I
That's a
don't
lot
think
of
that's
risk.
going to happen because all the mechs are in cover. They can rotate out. Unless
Night
one
Scorn is not
overheats.
going to be able to close the gap in time, so I think Isengrim is just going to set up their firing line, and maybe Night Scorn will rush it, maybe they won't. I still think it's going to come to a draw, but I don't think that this is a bad play by Isengrim because they only have a minute left, so even if Night Scorn charges them, I don't think they're going to get the kill.
They're not going to catch back up and damage and kill.
But Isengrim could theoretically all shoot one mech and core him out if Night Scorn made a mistake. But
yeah, Night Scorn's
Odin
not biting.
needs to be
They're
careful
not going
as he
for
comes
it.
up top here. Can't afford to lose a mech.
If Odin's Steed comes up top, I don't know how many angles they have on him right now, but
Probably not.
they're
many.
not shooting at him. He's
He might
got
be.
some pillars.
He might
to
be
block.
baiting them. He might be like, "Come on, charge us in the last 30 seconds."
Oh, he is taking
stop
some
it!
damage,
Stop
though.
it, Odin!
If you
Stop
got
it!
headshot here, it could be terrible.
Oh, he's still there! Stop it! Stop it!
I'm watching from his perspective, and he's still fine. He's just
still fine?
The side torso's hurt.
Okay. Stop it!
But yeah,
Stop it!
this is the sort of
What are
thing
you
that would drive a
doing?
drop commander nuts. And the pilot's like, it's
Okay,
fine.
okay, stop
Okay,
it.
he's CT
Stop
cord
it.
now.
Okay,
He's
stop
lost the
it.
side torso.
Holy shit.
Oh, and he almost goes down. I think that was a risk that really didn't need to be taken.
Oh my god. As a drop commander, I'm like, my anus was clenching. Stop it! Okay, alright. I don't think anybody's surprised by this. And, you know, it is kind of a letdown after how intense the first 2 drops were. But, you know what? That's fine. We'll forget that one even happened. That didn't even happen. Let's move to the next one. God damn it. Odin.
Well, technically, it really didn't happen. Nothing happened.
Oh,
but,
boy.
you know, you got to understand, like, the teams are going to play to win, and if this is, you know, what they feel is their best shot.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I wouldn't rush into a losing situation either. So.
I mean, obviously, the Isengrim essentially lost the dice roll on the, you know, maybe they were anticipating that Knight Scorn would bring a range deck, and they wanted to be prepared, and they didn't want to be the guys in a brawl deck that were sitting down in the basement and stuff. But you know what? That just shows that HPG really is demonstrating the fault in the rules. And I'm sure the community is going to come together and they're going to discuss in the forums to try and come up with a solution for next season. I can almost guarantee you that we're not going to see the same rule set next season in terms of draws and stuff. We might see Conquest. Somebody's got to come in there and make good suggestions, and we've seen a lot of good suggestions, so it's finding the one that works the best, that is harder to exploit in these situations, because what we're seeing a lot, and I'm guilty, I did it, we sat back knowing that Rising Storm needed that win to stay competitive against 228. We sat back and said, come on, get us, and we won those drops. I mean...
I really don't like how that works, and
because
I
I
really
don't need it. I mean, Marine Mechs are 5th place, and the only reason we're not 6th place is because one of the teams quit. And you know what? That's fine. I mean, we played to the rules. We didn't break any rules, and we did what it takes for our unit to win those drops. And I talked to Vonka afterwards, and he understands it. I understand it. I went into the MRBC thread and I said, this is exactly what we did. I'm not going to defend I'm not going to say I did anything wrong, but I'm not going to defend the rule set that I just essentially exploited to get those wins. So
I think it's fine to, use the rules.
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel bad about it, especially since Rising Storm also used that early on as well. So I don't think anybody should feel bad about that, but we all are in agreement that something needs to change, and so that's going to have to be discussed, and we're going to have to come up with a solution as a community to figure out what'll work best, because I don't think you can just say, oh, nobody do it. If there's not a rule that kind of pushes you away from doing something like that, you can't say, well, you're playing like shit because you exploited that or some shit. I mean, you come to a league to play to win, and you play within the rules. Nobody should complain about that. But let's do another drawing. Type exclamation raffle to enter for another chance at 1 day premium time code. And you know what? I know that Doyle... Somebody wanted to ban HPG at the beginning of the season, and unfortunately I was one of the guys that kind of said it shouldn't be banned, because it can be a very competitive map, and it can be a very fun map to play.
Honestly, I feel like there should be some maps that are just played in Conquest. Like HPG and Conquest is a lot of fun.
Map, I guess. Because I like HPG. I think it's a fun map to play. But it is so easy to exploit in these situations, and I didn't see that at the beginning of the season when I said in the forums, I'm like, I like HPG. I don't think anyone's going to exploit it. Big mistake. I mean, as we've seen, that was could not have been more wrong. I apologize to the community for saying that. So I've never said that I'm always right, but that is one of those situations where I had no clue that it was going to be used that way. So My bad.
Well, I liked even like last season's rules a lot better than
With
this
the
season's
scratch
rules.
damage, yeah, last season.
The scratch
I think
damage,
was
the
better
scratch
than this.
damage meta, like having to play around with like, okay, maybe we'll take one Raven 4X, but if they have one Raven 4X as well, maybe we need to take two to guarantee the scratch damage. But then if they're planning to be like mid-range or brawling and aggressive anyway, and you take too many of those mechs, you're hurting yourself. It was a little meta to do with that, and you had to like figure that out. And maybe some people found it annoying. I personally found it was okay. It wasn't, too much of a hassle to figure that out.
Yeah.
But I found that it did bring a lot of teams, to use more mid-range decks, Like, it encouraged them to be a little bit more ready to get in there in case they lost the scratch damage war. And have their one guy, who's, like, ready to scratch the other team and make them get out of the water in Crimson or whatever it is. So unless we switch and get a couple of these maps to be Conquest, right?
Yeah. Maybe that's what they need to do, is do it on a map by map basis.
I would love that. I think
Somebody make that
would be very
suggestion.
good.
We'll talk about it. We'll beat it to death, and then we'll see if anybody can come up with a scenario where that would be abused. Because some people are saying, okay, well, maybe if there's a draw, it needs to be Conquest. The major flaw with that is some people may prefer Conquest, so they would intentionally draw it and drop one, and then play Conquest to their strengths, and then abuse it that way, something like that. And I didn't mind the scratch damage, but I can see why a lot of teams, it's like you get scratched and it's like, well, shit, now we're fucked. Something like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of teams that like using these more, maybe even not like super long range, but like take an area and hold it strategies. They don't like, being forced to move just because, they can't win that light poke battle or whatever.
Yeah.
And I can see that.
I wish Theta
it's
on
totally
HPG.
legit if your strategy's like that.
I wish Theta on HPG was up on top. I think that would change it a lot too, for Conquest, because the fact that it's in a basement, maybe that'll force a lot more brawls in HPG. I don't know, but it'd be interesting if it was on top. Somebody could sneak in a cap and then drop back or something.
Yeah, but one thing I gotta say is, like, I really don't like the idea of the redrop.
I don't either.
It's like, okay,
you plan
it
for
was
5
a
drops
tie,
tonight,
now we'll go
redrops suck.
Conquest.
I agree.
That takes way too much time. I remember there was this one day where we played for 4 hours against STS on the U side. I was part of that game. And then at that night, we had to play against Lords on the NA side. And 3 of our players, including myself, were the same. And that took 3.5 hours. So that was 7.5 hours of MechWarrior in one day. And that was because we had a lot of drops that went all the way to the 15-minute mark. And then all the way to the 15-minute mark again, and we got the last kill a second or two right before the game ended, simply because everyone's waiting until the last second to move out. So I'd rather just wait that 15 minutes once, and then we'll battle it out in the last 2 minutes, rather than adding another 15 minutes onto there, and then it's okay, now we'll do Conquest.
I kind of like where you were going with the some maps. I mean, you have data here. We've played an entire season on it. You should have data as to how many draws. You can't necessarily say how many draws did we have, but you also have to pay attention to how many teams got forced to do something they didn't want to do, and HPG is definitely number one in that. So you can look at it and say, what maps is this happening on? And maybe just say, okay, HPG is still in, but it's now Conquest. See how that goes. I could get behind that. I mean, you have to make sure that all the teams understand the rules from the very beginning, that it's clear, concise, etc., etc. But maybe that's the solution. But you know what? We need the community in there, and we need them discussing it, and see how it goes. But all right, well, we are in match.
So here we go on Nightscorn's side. I'm seeing a Grasshopper with 3 large poles, 4 medium, 7 medium poles, Thunderbolt, 5 SS, Hunchback 4P with 9 small pulse laser, and then we also have a Stormcrow. with 9 small pulse laser. So looking like a little bit of a brawl here. We got an Arctic Cheetah, a Firestarter A. That's going to be small pulses for their assaults. We have a Banshee, 3M, 3 large, 5 medium
it looks
laser,
like Night Scorn's
and a
coming in
Daka
really
Wolf.
aggressive. It looks like
Yeah.
Isengrim, you know, they're kind of mid-range poke. They're trying to set up over near Tack Hill here. But Nightstorm, they came right across to the other side of the dropship right off the bat, but then stopped and are now trading. That 5SS took quite a bit of fire from the mechs over here. I think that was Mech the Dane.
Yeah, and they've taken that hill there.
Tack Hill,
and
yeah.
I don't know if Nightscorn really wants to be in the buildings right there when their assaults are kind of on the other side. Like, way in the back over there by, like, beyond Charlie 3. Now their assaults are moving into Charlie 3. Let's see, maybe they want to move in their assaults for a flank.
Yeah, I mean, they can...
Oh, and here goes
Oh,
the
here
other
comes the
mechs.
brawl. Yep. A little bit
I think
early,
they're a
the
little
assaults
too
haven't
soon.
got over yet, but now they are. They're putting
Okay,
their
there
shot
comes
out.
the assaults. Oh, this is starting to look a little bit better for Nightscorn. Isengrim
stuck
is
in a
backing
building.
up.
Oh,
They're
massive
getting in front of
airstrike.
each other. They're clumping up too much.
Oh, that's not looking good for Isengrim there. But they did get some hits on the Grasshopper, but everybody's just scattered at this point.
And the
Crux
Direwolf
goes down in the
down.
Direwolf. He got caught off on his own, ran through, and got punished for it.
And that Timberwolf on Isengrim's side is really badly hurt as well. I don't see this going too well for them now.
Yeah, they're getting kind of surrounded. They're getting
Stalker
focused down.
4N at
Massive
36%.
strikes.
That was an excellent strike. 2 megs
Oh,
go
that
down
strike
for
was
them.
awesome. That's not good for Isengrim right here.
Yeah, and this looks like it's going to be an 8-0 or maybe an A1.
And
Yeah,
Nightscorn is
Enforcer's
doing a good
next.
job at filtering all their hurt mechs to the back, so they're making it impossible for Isengrim to be able to pick up even a single kill. And that
And
is
8-0.
8-0. What a stomp there. I mean, they came over deliberate. That movement of the assaults coming over, that I think was a scouting fail on Isengrim. They needed to go check saddle. If they saw that 2 assaults were on their own saddle, a massive push from Tack Hill to saddle would have swept those 2 assaults, but they lacked that information and they weren't able to make that decision. And the assaults, that I said it earlier, the timing seemed a little off, but no, based on the elevation of that push over, they came at nose of dropship. Those assaults started firing the instant Nightscorn pushed their main body over. The timing could not have been better. And
Yeah,
they
looking
punished them
back on it.
hard.
Really well done. Really well done. And yeah, like you said, I mean, just huge information gathering failure on not pinpointing those other 2 mechs. I think they were like, okay, here's, a bunch of heavies and whatnot.
Yeah.
That's got to be their entire force. Wait, where are their assaults? Their assaults coming in from the flank, not being targeted immediately. Like, they probably had already called out, like, 2 other targets amongst the other pushing force, which meant that they didn't really have any eyes towards their assaults, and they couldn't really focus any fire on them, even though that's what they want to do. So they were retreating. They probably saw the Direwolf and the Banshee late, and then switched some fire onto them, and just ended up kind of softening up all the mechs on Isengrim's side. On Nightscorn's side, but not really getting any kills, which meant that they had less and less firepower, and then it's just a domino effect after that.
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, I agree. And, those assaults coming over nose of dropship had such a great angle into the main body of Isengrim. They were getting hit from 90-degree angle, essentially. 2 different flanks. Isengrim had nowhere to go. And they were just getting completely pounded. They were running into each other. They were running into buildings. It was clearly a panic. It was impossible to coordinate. The Direwolf got caught off on his own and surrounded and taken down early.
They weren't ready.
They weren't ready, and that
two-pronged
was
assault.
a great plan by Nightscorn. That flanking maneuver worked really well. It could have fallen apart if Isengrim had better scouting over the top, but the initial movement for Nightscorn to go past dropship and take the base of Lower City there right off the bat, Isengrim got a couple early good pokes. They had no clue those assaults were going to breach over the top.
Yeah. And if there's like a small mistake that Nightscorn made was that they exposed their Thunderbolt or whatever, and they took a little bit of early damage. But honestly, in
Didn't
the
matter.
long run, that
Yep.
probably just made ISEN feel a little bit more confident about what they were doing and about looking down towards the heavies, and that let the assaults just sneak on through on the flank and just lay down to Daka. And I think it was a large pulse Banshee, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember.
Yeah, and I think they have the Direwolf too, who looked like he actually had DACA.
Yeah, it was a Daka Wolf, that's for sure. And I didn't see how much damage he did on the post match, but maybe we'll see it on my replay this time around. It's just starting now,
Awesome.
so we'll get to see that again. And it was a nice brawl out of Nightscorn. It was a very nice brawl.
Congrats to all the winners. Let's go hop over and take a look at the replay in a second here. Looks like it's just starting up now. Yeah, that was a very clean, surgical removal of Isengrim from the battlefield there. I mean, that went very well in their favor. Things went according to their plan very well, though. And I've never personally seen that done before. That worked really well for them. But like I said, I think that could have fallen apart, maybe, with the scouting and with an aggressive push by Isengrim to leave Tack Hill and push over on those assaults. But that's one where, Dane's going to have to come back, watch this footage, and say, shit, okay, next time we got to make sure somebody's up there watching,
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I really like the fact that Nightscorn went with a brawl strategy in this drop 4. We don't see a lot of brawling in these heavier drop decks. If there is a map for it, Frozen City is it. It is one of the few small maps actually left in this game, which is kind of a shame. I wish that the original maps that have just been redone, they had the original versions, which are just smaller,
It'd be
available
nice if they
for you to play in
allowed
lobby.
you to choose, because I think it's still in the game data. It's just
I'm sure it is.
switched
I'm
it
sure they
over.
could easily bring it back and just put it in the lobby for you to choose.
Private lobby would be fantastic for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love if PGI could do that. Love
PGI,
if PGI.
please.
Please do that.
So yeah, you're watching those assaults over here. I didn't even actually see those guys. I heard you talking about them, but I didn't actually realize how big that movement was, and just the firing lane down that main highway was so huge. Like, it takes away their protection. They're trying to back up. They're bumping into each other, and they're just getting wailed on from that side. They can't even bring all of their guns to bear because they're backing into each other at this point.
And on the other side, Nightscorn, when they're pushing, they do so as a line, like facing them, right? So they're not like pushing into them one by one. They're all coming over at the same time, all bringing their weapons to bear. Granted, I mean, they can't all focus the same targets because of the hills, but they get in there. They start surrounding.
Oh, that strike right
Isengrim.
there was amazing.
Yeah, amazing airstrike right there. And, that's hard to do in a brawl without hitting your teammates. And
ballsy as hell, yeah. I mean, I
That
bet
was
you
really
if
well
MD
done.
was here, he'd be giving one of his invisible medals to whoever dropped that strike. But, there's so many good strikes there, it's hard to pick which one was the best. But it wasn't a strike double kill, but those strikes hit 2 mechs, and those mechs went bam, bam, down like that. I mean, that had to have made a huge difference there. You still with me? Hello?
Avatar of what in your channel timed out.
Alright, I think my internet's okay. I think Avatar just lagged out again. He got really quiet, and I'm like, oh god, no, I don't want the stream to die. Okay. I think we're good. Woo! Okay, hopefully you can get back in. Let me see if I can... I'm going to tell them to hold, because I want him in here for drop 5. Awesome freaking match so far, though. This has been, I mean... back and forth. I mean, everybody's just fighting hard for this one. It's really coming down to the wire. I don't know the official scores right now, but I feel like it's going to come down to this, and I feel like Isengrim needs to win this to be able to take first place. But ultimately, whoever wins this, I'm not going to officially say this, but I feel like whoever wins Drop 5 is going to be the winner of the division. I am so happy that it's going to come down to this as a spectator. That's awesome. So hopefully it's a good fight here. We'll see what happens. Anything could happen here. Anything could happen. Oh, boy. Goodness gracious. 75 viewers. Thank you, everybody, for coming by and watching. I'm really glad that this has turned out, as such a good match to watch here. Really exciting. So, thanks, everybody, for coming by and watching. And thanks to everybody who watches these VODs after the fact. I have so many people now. It's totally weird. Like, I'm basically a nobody. But now I've got people in public queue being like, "Hey, man, great shoutcast." I'm like, I don't know who you are, but thanks. That's awesome. You know, it's such a cool feeling to be recognized, and I love doing this, and I want to keep doing it, and I'm really really happy that you guys seem to be liking my performance and stuff like that, and the show and everything. So hopefully I can continue bringing that to you guys.
Avatar of what joined
Okay,
your
I'm
channel.
back. Hey, can you tell him to send me an invite?
Yep, I have him holding for you right now.
Okay, thanks. Ooh. Yeah, my internet just decided to drop out and restart
At least it
my
did
router.
in between drops.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I was just getting a little bit sappy there because we got a lot of viewers and it's cool and stuff. But yeah, a lot of people watch the VODs of this, and not everybody catches it live. We actually have, I want to say, a couple hundred people just that come by and watch this shit after the fact. And a lot of it is drop commanders trying to see what they did wrong, and they link it to their entire team and stuff like that. But that's a lot of views after the fact, in addition to the amount of people that are coming to watch. You know, it's not NGNG style or anything like that, but it's cool to see that many people enthusiastic about watching some competitive MWO and stuff. It really makes me feel that Comp MWO is still alive and will be for a while here. We have a good community, so
it's definitely alive, and I think the Steam launch will do pretty well for us, because honestly, we're going to get a lot less people who are just in it for the BattleTech, and a lot more gamers who just enjoy the gameplay. And that's the people who normally play at the high-end competitive level, I feel like. I mean, no offense. Like, I'm a BattleTech nerd, personally. But, you know, when you're talking about just people playing stuff on Steam, I think we're going to get more actual gamers, you know, who just play a lot of games and have a lot of gaming skills come in. And they're very quickly going to be able to pick up the game and get on these teams. And we're going to get a lot more competition going. And I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully this happens.
Yeah, I mean, I got my start with like MechWarrior 2 back when I was a kid and stuff, and I always enjoyed big stompy mechs, and I enjoyed the flavor that it provided and stuff. And I was really excited to see the MechWarrior reboot come out or like be announced and stuff from Smith and Tinker. I was super stoked, and then it turned into MWO. It was a little bit of a disappointment because I do like the first player games, but you know, I played MWO for a bit and kind of faded out. I was like, that's not exactly what I want. But I came back and started actually playing competitively and stuff. I'm like, this is actually pretty fun, and it's a different style of game. I never really played a lot of World of Tanks. I'm sure World of Tanks is pretty similar in some regards, but I liked the feeling of it. I liked the feeling of being in a big war machine and stuff like that, and it's cool. But my background, I came from like Counter-Strike competitive and stuff like that, and I think that translates pretty well into this game. I've picked up some players that, you know, I used to play Counter-Strike. I'm like, you're probably going to make a really good MWO player, you know? A lot of those comp players from other games can slot in very well into this, and a lot of it comes down to just situational awareness and precision and drive, just wanting to become better and wanting to fix your mistakes and stuff like that. So it all translates really well.
Yeah. I do want to say right now that I believe this game, this final match right here, might be
It might be the decider. Yeah.
for the whole thing.
For the whole damn thing.
So,
That's fucking awesome.
yeah.
There's no ties on this one, man. There's no ties on this one.
Well, I mean, they can.
Oh, I suppose they could, but I don't even know who would win in the event of a tie here. I want to say Night Score
it'd be
might
nice
be
if we
ahead.
could get someone to calculate for us on Twitch and just let everyone know.
Let's hope they're recording their videos so they can submit them, because they need those C-bills. They need them bad.
Yeah. Seriously, I hope these guys have been submitting their videos and getting every last little bit of possible C-bills. I would hate it if one team beat another just because of the video reward.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that teams are encouraged to post up their videos so that, other people can see, okay, this is, competitive MWO from a regular guy who's playing perspective, But at the same time, it's...
Avatar, no! Did I lose you?
Hello?
Are you there?
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
right.
you're freaking me out, man. You got silent suddenly. Are you still here?
Yeah, I think it cut out for a second there.
Okay. Whew. Oh, boy. Well, it looks like somebody on Night Scorn is having some client issues crashing out right now, so they're still trying to get this lobby going at the end here. So it wasn't just you having issues.
Yeah. Well, going back a little bit on the Steam release, just to fill up the time a little bit, I did want to say good job, PGI, on bumping up the C-bill rewards.
Yeah,
and whatnot.
That was always that grind is terrible. Like, I let my premium time run out, and I've just been in agony. Like, I'm spending more on consumables, I feel, sometimes than the outcome of the match and stuff. So I've had to stop using my consumables as much, but then I don't do as well when I can get that extra alpha off with a cool shot and stuff. But I need to earn more money, but I don't want to do premium time just yet. I want to see how things go.
Like, I've had premium time, I've not had premium time, and I gotta say, before this boost, not having premium time, you weren't really able to use any consumables, because you weren't just making any money whatsoever.
And I'm dumping, because I'm pretty sure private lobbies still cost money when you use consumables, and I'm spending more money on comp than I am earning in public queue, especially when I haven't been able to do too many public queue drops even since they upped the rewards. So having that extra little bit when I do play is nice, because I'm trying to level shields and stuff right now.
Looks like they're launching now. We're loading into the mining collective right now.
Good luck to both teams, man. This is exciting.
Yeah, well played so far. No matter who wins, I'm sure both teams will be pretty pleased to have gotten this far.
Well, this is interesting. Isengrim is running a lot of ER larges on Mining Collective. It'll be interesting to see what these guys do. They got all of their assaults on the right flank right now. They've got some heavies in the middle and then lights off on the left flank. A majority of Night Scorn's mechs are off to the left right now, so we'll see what comes of this.
It seems like Night Scorn is content with their shorter range game. It's worked for them. They want to keep at it, so they're taking a lot of shorter range mechs. They're taking a Daka Wolf. They're taking a Banshee with 3 large pulse, 5 medium. That's a fairly short range build. A 3 large pulse, 4 medium Battlemaster. That's not one you see too often, but it can be good. Their fire starters, they got 1A, 1S, and then they also got a 5 medium Gauss Timberwolf, Thunderbolt 5 SS, and then finally, this is a kind of weird choice for me, Executioner D with 2 large pulse lasers and 4 medium lasers. So yeah, they definitely want to get in there and mix it up, but it looks like...
I think they're holding right now. I just saw all
they're holding.
Up. Not
I got 0-0 on the timer, though.
The timer's going
no, there
now,
it goes.
But nobody's moving, and I think that might be... Oh, they're redropping.
I think they would be moving by now.
They're redropping, I think.
Yeah, they might be redropping.
So somebody must have been disconnected. Do you see anybody completely stuck?
One mech that's dead here. Firestarter S all the way in the corner. Oh wait, they're already killing themselves. Yeah, definitely a redrop.
Might be maybe the 5 SSs because neither of them are moving right now.
Someone might have taken a wrong loadout as well, I suppose.
Oh, the 2 5 SSs. Is it supposed to be 1 dupe for drop 5?
1 dupe.
So
dupe.
I'm seeing 2 Stalkers and 2 Thunderbolts on Isengrim's
so yeah, nice job by Isengrim on catching the mistake. I know SJR made the same mistake against us, and they won that drop, but we won the redrop because we had to play it again.
Well, their punishment for this is well, I don't know if you can really garner too much from the loadouts, I guess. But they don't know the loadouts, but they know what mechs are.
Oh, and my game crashed.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yep. All right, PGI.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna redo this. Please don't let him launch without me. Pull an MD.
Sorry,
MD. It was my fault. I didn't have. All right, so like there was that match that we broadcast, and or that you guys were shoutcasting, and it was us versus SJR. And I was inviting you, but I had Bradley inviting MD, and we just kind of got mixed up on the redrop for the.
MD got lost on that last one. I remember that now.
Yeah, it's because I didn't have him on my friends list, so I was just letting Bradley take command and invite him, and I kind of got lost in the communication there. My bad, buddy. Alright, so I'm connecting now. It should be seeing me shortly there.
While we're waiting for people to get in, I'm actually going to sit here and look at chat for a little bit. I didn't have the opportunity to really watch chat. It's tough to do that when I'm trying to do all kinds of other shit too. So
yeah, and I'm sorry. I told you I would watch chat, but I really haven't been. So
that's all right. It's tough. It's tough to keep up with that. A lot of people, especially with that many viewers, a lot of people have a lot of stuff to say. But yeah, definitely. I hope you guys are all sticking around. This is for all the Marbles here, I believe. The winner of this unofficially is going to win the division. So it really is coming down to the wire here. Really, definitely coming down to the wire.
Yeah.
And props to Night Scorn for not flipping their shit about a misdrop too. They took the redrop. So mad props. I think it's within the rules for Eisen to call the redrop.
Yeah, I think they have a mulligan. It happened before anything happened.
Yeah.
So that's within reason, but at the same time, it's cool when the other team doesn't complain or anything or make any snarky comments. And also, good job on Night Scorn for keeping their cool.
Oh no, they're connecting. No, they didn't reinvite you. Oh shit. Ah, damn it! They just connected and didn't. Oh man, they pulled an MD. Oh,
God damn it!
Sucks. You're gonna miss You're gonna have to watch with everybody else now, bro. Shit. Oh, bummer.
Damn.
Oh man. All right. Well, I will try my best to keep up on the calls. Hopefully this turns into the most amazing match ever, and you're gonna miss it. That'll be hilarious. It'll be your punishment for not inviting.
I hope
MD.
this is like a 15-minute. They're just waiting it out first.
Oh, okay. So we already had a good look at those guys. Nobody should have. Let's see what they changed. They have the 2 Stalkers still for Isengrim, but they switched out a Hellbringer in instead of the 5 SS. Everything else seems to be the same. So we have started. It looks like the assaults are plunging right down the B and C line. Over on the other side, Night Scorn, they're moving down Echo line. So they have a little bit of a NASCAR going on here. I'm not sure where Isengrim intends on setting up to get good shots, but where they are right now, it's going to be tough to get good shots downfield. It looks like they're kind of just moving across the other side of the map. Isengrim's lights are pretty close to the action. See if any of them There is one Night Scorn UAV up from the fire starter, but they are kind of buttoning up over here. Not sure if they think that maybe Isengrim's setting up Theta. Where are they going? Isengrim is taking a right turn, and they are plunging down into, I think this is Alpha 3, into the dark corner. That's a pretty familiar move. Wah, wah, wah. I wonder where they picked that up from. This is interesting. Okay, so I personally understand the benefits of this corner, and it looks to me like they are going to try and use it as well. So Isengrim, in their heavy range mechs, have buttoned up into Alpha 3. And the mostly Brawl team from Night Scorn are buttoned up over on the Echo line. I'm not sure if they can see Isengrim's mechs over there, if they even know where they are. The scouts aren't doing too much. They're just kind of looking around. Actually, you know what? I bet you they saw him as they crossed right here, so I think they know exactly where they are. This, in my opinion, puts Night Scorn at a bit of a disadvantage. That's a tough area to rush, not only because, you know, they have the range, but that dark corner is so difficult to see. I mean, maybe if you gamma up hard or something, but that's a pitch black background over there, and if you don't have bright colors on your mechs, which, you know, Isengrim kind of does, but even still, the darkness of this just... You know what? Isengrim's camo actually makes it even better, because there's little specks in the wall, and that their camo is just spot on, and I'm sure that was completely unintentional, but look at the vantage point that these guys have at anything incoming. I mean, there's angles that the enemy team can take, but every time that they expose themselves, they're going to take a whale of fire from these guys. That's going to be hard to counter. That's going to be very hard to counter. So, Isengrim actually has their light mechs out and about, their feelers, they're just trying to see what Night Scorn is doing. Both teams are pretty much buttoned up. I don't think anyone's going to take this to a draw, but who's going to blink first? That will be interesting.
So apparently, they do need to agree to a redrop. So good job on Night Scorn for agreeing to the redrop and not just taking the entire season right there. I'm sure there must have been some temptation to do that. So mad props.
Got some early fire in, just scratching the paint right now. It's going to be interesting to see who's going to make their movement, you know? I mean, everybody knows where everybody is at this point. Who's going to blink first? Who needs to blink first? We don't even know. After that last one, you know, maybe Isengrim's on, you know, maybe they're the ones that have to blink, but I don't know if anybody's done the math yet. That is definitely a power position, though. Is Night Scorn discussing how they want to approach this, or are they just like, okay, well, let's just wait for them to come to us then? You know, how are they going to do this? We'll see who blinks. Not too much to say. Uh-oh, gonna have a little bit of a light skirmish here. Surprise!
Got
Oh,
confirmation
no.
from chat that FFI won their games.
All of them? Starwolf needs to get the hell out of there. So a little bit of an exchange in the light side of things. Not too much damage done. Looks like it actually came out about even. Could have gone very bad with one lucky shot, though. I hope they're going for heads. Oh, dear. Here we are again. I mean... people are waiting for somebody to blink. I think Night Scorn understands the gravity of that position. I don't think they want to challenge it. They don't have the builds to effectively challenge it. But they may feel like they don't have a choice, and it looks to me like they're starting to roll out. So let's see if they can do some effective trading. I mean, even though that position, it's rough to trade that distance, it's not impossible. It's not like an HPG Moonside or anything like that. It's not a Alpine Peaks, for God's sake. They can get into their ranges, and it really comes down to who peaks more effectively then. So it's not impossible for these guys to pull it off. Isengrim still has a lot of work to do to land their shots properly. That went more in favor of the Firestarter A there. The lights are kind of taking a lot of shots. If they're not careful, I don't know if he saw the main body moving up or not. Well, they do now, but those lights got to be careful not to accidentally get smoked. That's dangerous. Last thing you need is to lose a mech here. That could definitely swing things in the other direction. So they've moved a couple steps forward, but still kind of at a standoff. I think they're trying to maybe get an ambush position on the Isengrim Lights, but the Isengrim Lights are doing a good job at, for the most part, staying out of trouble here. It looks like the single Night Scorn Firestarter up here is coming to take a little bit of a closer look just to see what they're truly up against. I don't see him taking too drastically large amount of damage. Oh, smartly cut his jump jets there before taking a massive alpha from several mechs. If he landed on top of that platform, that could have been devastating. So he let himself fall into cover. Smart move on his part to avoid that extra damage there. I'm gonna think that was intentional. It looked like it was intentional because it looked to me like he was attempting to get up on top. Once again, though, I can't fault Eisen for taking that powerful position. I mean, the map design makes that a very tough place to attack. But, you know, Night Scorn can chill, but you know what? It looks like they're going to try and challenge it. They're going to try and get a comfortable trade position and maybe punish the Lights for peeking too much. I would be surprised if this ended up in a draw. I really would. But, you know, I don't know the scores. I don't know if maybe Eisen can live with the draw. I don't want to speculate. I don't have the numbers in front of me. Eisen is actually moving out. I think they might think that they're behind, so they are actually rolling out from that position. I don't think Night Scorn knows it, but this could go very badly for Eisen, but, you know, what other choice do you have? Let's see if they can do this in a way where it's a surprise. If they can put their shots on hard, they're going to get perched up on this corner. Let's see what happens here. It's about to get really hot.
After an 8-0 loss, they have to be thinking
to be thinking it, yeah. So here comes the fire. They're getting some early shots in. Oh, let's see if they can get somebody pinned. If they can pin that 5SS and get some good shots in him before he peeks around the corner, down to 80%, and they get a strike on top of him. That was a good trade right there, but now they're a lot closer. They got him down to 80%. They did, their cheetah did take a little bit more damage, but that was a pretty decent trade. But now they're so much closer. They're in Night Scorn's charge range, but Night Scorn is actually kind of retreating here, pulling back, using their strikes, just trying to put a little bit of distance, which you would seem, you know, detrimental to what their deck is like. But they're doing it in cover, and they're able to kind of reset the fight and find a new angle. So good trade there by the Timberwolf. Got his shot in, took very minimal damage in return. Eisen really has to watch all angles. You have to play with your entire screen, and you have to be ready to shoot somebody at a moment's notice. That Timberwolf needed to be punished there, and he got away with it. So good shoot back by him. But Isengrim continues to move up, and I think the brawl is going to happen here, and it's going to go bad for Isengrim. See, Night Squirm did back up there right on the ramp, and they could easily just put it into Ultra Drive and go... that sounds stupid. They could put it into 5th gear and go straight into him, and that's going to hurt. But they are both continuing to poke some massive hits on Mech the Dane's Hellbringer. They're down to 70%, and it looks like something's crit on him. Not too good. But Isengrim continues to push around. It's going to be rough. I don't know how they're going to be able to pull it off with their deck. They're built like tanks. I mean, they're built with their ER large deck, but they're in brawl range. This is going to be so tough. The only thing that I think could really work for them is if Night Scorn continues to stay super passive. But I think they got to realize, it's time to go. And got some aggressive peeks around the outside. Massive damage dealt to the Direwolf, and he's stuck on the wall. Massive hits on the 5SS. These guys are jamming up into each other, taking strikes on top of it. They cannot let that happen. Now, the Firestarter S does go down for Isengrim, but the percentages just swung heavily in favor of Isengrim right there. That could take them far. They are pounding the shots in on anything that peaks at this point. The Firestarter gets caught out, takes a little bit extra damage. That could have made a huge difference. We'll see if they're able to capitalize on it. Isengrim trying to get a mech up high in the back to get a little bit more poke damage in there. But that exchange, even though they're down a mech, that exchange did a lot for them. That did a ton for them. They have a lot of hurt mechs themselves, though. I mean, that's the Terragato and the Archita down to 45% now. Dane down to 64 in the Hellbringer. They need to focus. They need to challenge their inner Canyon network here and pull off that same focus that they had before. Night Scorm is content with continuing the poke deck here with 1 minute and 50 seconds remaining. They don't look like they want to do the final charge here, and Isengrim is continuing to be aggressive, continuing to attempt to put their fire on target, and we'll see if that works for him. The Banshee taking massive Daka fire here. That was pretty brutal on that cross, but he did get some return fire on the Direwolf. We'll see if they can get the Stalker ears up into position to take out that Direwolf. Down to 50%. They're laying into him as hard as they possibly can. This is some intense crossfire going on, but here come the lights around the left side. Everybody has their back to him. Nobody's going to be able to effectively fire up on those fire starters. The Cheetah is going to go down with one shot if he's not careful. He can't hold them off. Isengrim getting backed into a corner, not looking good. 3 mechs down. The lights around the left side just completely took away their hiding spot there. And here comes the Swarm. They're going to finish off Isengrim here. 5-0. Not looking good for Isengrim. And that was some intense shit, but it is going to go most likely 8-0 in favor of Night Scorn. And that is going to be the season. Good game. I mean, props to Isengrim for coming out. You had to do it. They knew they had to do it. That spot was so strong, but they could not stay there. They could not draw it out. Ballsy move coming up, but you had no choice. They did it the best they could. They laid the damage in as hard as they could, but the weapons were not in their favor. I mean, the team they were up against, they were in their optimal range, and they had superior firepower. So even though they did their best to punish mechs that got cut out, it just the heat catches up to them, the superior firepower catches up to them, and ultimately Isengrim goes down at the hands of Night Scorn. Whoa, God! Let's do a raffle. Let's do a frickin' raffle for the mech bay. Oh God! Intense. Oh, that's a shame though. Isengrim was banking on the charge, and Night Scorm said, "Nope, we don't have to," and that worked against them. The good effort by Eisen to try and pull it off, but
and you know what? When we were scrimming against Eisen, that was part of the problem with their strategy. They didn't have a good strategy for drop 5, and we were trying to come up with something. And I think you told them about that spot.
Well, they
And
watched
that's a
my
good
match
spot.
and
If you can
stuff.
take it, you can hold it, and you can force them to come to you. You're almost certainly going to win.
If you can force them to come to you, but unfortunately...
Yeah, they didn't have enough of a lead through all these games to be able to guarantee that Nightscorn was going to crash into them. Maybe if, like, that previous draw was a win for ISEN, but no, and, you know, we're going to see, I'm going to see here for the first time what happens in a second, but I got to say, you know, they just needed a plan B.
Yeah, a plan B definitely would have helped, and also I'm sure that Nightscorn seeing the deck that they were bringing because of the misdrop doesn't help either. That was kind of punishing them as well. They didn't even have to take a solid look to kind of know that, okay, Isengrim's going to do heavy range. We need to sit back and talk about it.
But you know what? Like, you can't... I guess the Stalker 3H is really the biggest giveaway. But they do have a Thunderbolt 5SS, right? Like, that suggests more of a mixed deck.
That is true. But the 5SS can effectively do ER large, though. So it's tough to really pin that down 100%. I'm gonna get my replay going here. Just gotta get to the replay.
It's at 3 minutes right now on your stream.
I'm popping over to the MRBC YouTube page, and I'm gonna use their the DVR function on YouTube, which is kind of nice. Man, I kind of lost my voice there a little bit. Need to take a drink.
Definitely well played by both teams.
That was intense shit, though, man. That was
really close series.
That last one, even though it was an 8-0, that last one was a lot closer than the scoreboard shows for sure.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now, and it seems pretty intense. You know, I'm glad that ISEN kind of decided, like, fuck it, let's do this.
Going out with a bang, for sure.
Mm-hmm. But I think they shouldn't have, in the end, after all.
Did they have a choice, though?
Maybe. I think the math is very close, and it's kind of like a gamble on whether they would win or not right now, just based on that. But, I mean, they're definitely not going to win after an 8-0.
Yeah. That'll be a shame. But props to them for pushing up, though, and making it exciting. Even though they were kind of... It was bad for them. But just... They got a lot of good shots in. And I think if they were in a brawl deck or a mid-range deck, they would have... The mechs that got stuck would have been punished even more than they ultimately did. We'll see that in a little bit here. Where those guys kind of got lodged up in the corner and just started taking... The 5SS and the Direwolf took a lot of fire. And but they were able to filter those mechs into the backfield and keep them alive. So... But neither team can look at this and be sad with how this really went. I mean, there has to be a winner and there has to be a loser. But ultimately, I think that both teams played fantastic. It was exciting. What a way to end a season, honestly. That was amazing. And both teams played fantastic. Got to give both teams props for putting in 150% here.
And you know what? I said it earlier, and I'll say it again right now. I think both of these teams honestly deserve to be Division B teams, and the fact that it was this close just kind of proves it.
Yeah. Well,
you know,
just so well played. I mean, if it was my choice, I'd give them both first place, because it was what a way to end the season. It was just down to the freaking wire.
Yeah, though I have to say that Canyon drop was my favorite.
That was still oh man, if I have to highlight something, I actually want to go back before we leave, and I'm gonna go replay my perspective of that Canyon drop again. I gotta see it again. It was so awesome. I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna pull up my audio where I'm freaking losing my voice. Oh, that's where they got cut out. You see that? They got that little traffic jam there, and they're taking advantage of it. But if they had the stronger weapon deck, they could have killed somebody there. But those ER larges, while it did quite a bit of damage, just was not enough to seal the deal. damn it, you know. And they lost their fire starter, so then they're down a mech. The Arctic Cheetah's basically combat ineffective. Even there, the fire starter should have taken way more than that coming up that ramp. And they had 4 or 5 mechs shooting him. Maybe they didn't hit him as well as they could have, but with pulses, they probably could have got him on target much better, or Gauss shot even. But they played as hard as they could for the deck they had. They got it close, but ultimately, though, they're in the optimal range of Night Scorn's heavy weaponry, and especially the Daka, and it just punished them. When we see the Banshee move across the gap, he just takes such a beating.
Yeah, I think they should have just have been a little bit more prepared with their deck to move in, right?
I mean, if they had an understanding that they were behind. You see here, this is where that Daka just lands on him. He was pretty fresh, and just the amount of damage he takes from just crossing the gap. I mean, he was kind of leading a charge for the rest of his team to try and get an angle, but that's a lot of damage to peel away. And then the big play here coming up, the fire starter is moving on the left side, and I feel like that really seals the deal. These guys did a fantastic job just pounding it in the back. Nobody has an effective answer. The Arctic Cheetah has nothing. He's so hurt. And it just takes away that spot. They can't get the crossfire anymore. They back up, and it's just a slow burn to death right there. But
unfortunately, the lights for Isengrim didn't seem to do a whole lot this round.
They took a lot of early damage. Not a lot of early damage, but they took a lot of damage at some point, and it really took away their combat effectiveness to be able to support their team. Like, if we had those lights off on that left flank, able to hold them off, that might have gone a little bit more in favor of Isengrim. Hard to say if it would have really affected it much, but that's really the only effective brawl mech they have is the Cheetah and the Firestarter. But still, that was freaking close for how the scoreboard came out.
Oh, okay.
Damn.
So, what an exciting season for Division C. And in the end, it's going to be Night Scorn that takes it and moves on to Division B. Congratulations, guys.
I don't know if
can
because
try
it
again
was.
next season.
I don't know what they're going to do, considering there was more than 4 teams in. Maybe they'll move both teams up, and I hope they do. Honestly.
Oh yeah, that is a possibility, I suppose.
And it really depends too on how many teams sign up next season. I think we're going to have a lot of teams signing up. So
MRBC, anything can happen.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, we might see more teams moving up, but then we might see more divisions as well. And especially with the Steam release, hopefully some more teams get formed, more people get interested in comp, and who knows, man. This has been fun though, and I think this season has been super competitive. I like Div B was fantastic. Only one 5-0 decision in Div B, or 2 now, I think. Yeah, but still, for all the teams that were playing in Div B to have that many 3-2 decisions, that was so fun to watch, and I got to sit there and watch a lot of those and shoutcast them, and that was fantastic. Div C, some of the divisions were a little bit more one-sided, but the teams that were at the top were all very good teams, and they had to duke it out in the end. And the fact that we got to watch one week 5 for the division instead of it being like an earlier decision like Night Scorn versus Isengrim back in week 2 or something like that. We got to see it here, we got to watch it here, and we got to take it all the way to the end into Drop 5. That was awesome. You couldn't rewrite this if you tried. So, excellent. That was all excellent. I'm so excited that this happened. I can only hope that we get as much of a thrill on Tuesday with the Rising Storm versus 228. I mean, Rising Storm's got a lot of work to do, but they're not out of it. They might be able to pull this back, and I really hope that they turn it into a good match, So we're going to be there.
I'm really looking forward to watching that one as well. You already have a co-caster for that one?
I think MD is going to be doing that one. I got to get confirmation, but I think he stepped up for that one.
All right. Well, if he changes his mind, you
Sure, but keep in mind one thing that we are going to try and do, since it is the last shoutcast of the season, I do want to try and do a little bit of a pregame show almost, and you're definitely invited to that, where I want to get some of the drop commanders from various teams in to talk about the season, talk about MWO, talk about the rebalance in the PTS, talk about Steam release and things like that. We'll talk about a bunch of stuff, and I think that'll be cool.
Right on. Yeah, I'm down.
I definitely want you to be there. We'll get some people in to TeamSpeak, and we'll just see if we can have a nice, educated discussion and see if it'll be interested. We'll do that before the match, and then we'll hop into the match and hopefully have a really good match to watch. But thanks everybody for coming along for the ride and stuff. Let me finish up this raffle here. I'll give these guys a chance to enter for the Mech Bay raffle. While we're doing that, I just want to go and see if I can find that canyon drop, because that was so cool.
Pretty epic.
All right, here, let's go to it. So Isengrim definitely not looking good here. Pretty beat up. They got around the outside here, and they're kind of being shadowed by a fire starter, but they're just trying to find a position. But you can see Night Scorn, they're moving with them, but they get a little bit of early trade in. At that point, Night Scorn moves up to that rock, and then shit starts going crazy. Bad hits there on that Timberwolf. He got punished. A little bit of poke damage from behind. Things really not looking good for Isengrim here. This is back in drop 2, if anybody's confused. And then, bam. You know what? I actually just freaking missed it myself. Let's do it again. Bam. Oh, here it is. Bad peek. Blackjack goes down. That's the start of one intense frickin' comeback. And they are up 1. Dane's probably screaming, back the fuck up. Mechs are still getting punished while this is happening, though. Mechs are still getting punished.
Sort of game
Dane
that I
even
play
peeks out on the
MWO
right
for.
side and gets punished. So it gets even worse for Isengrim in terms of just their overall health as a team. They get down into the river, and they're moving down the river here, and then they're gonna set up their firing line. Night Scorn is hanging back, and that actually kind of cost them a little bit, that they kind of stood back and allowed Isengrim to move up into that firing line position. They didn't move up fast enough to punish Isengrim while they were in that full retreat. They probably didn't know how hurt Isengrim was, but they could have punished them while they were moving down the river. But they back up, they get into this position, and then here it comes. They're starting to just lay their fire down. Bam! Timber Sea goes down. Now they're up by 2. And this is after, just look at the percentages of Isengrim, but they're punishing anything that peeks. They peek up around that side. Bam! Raven gets nailed. He's still alive, but he's hurting. Very weak mechs starting to peek around the left side. Boom! Wolverine goes down 3-0. Boom! Stormcrow gets a massive hit. The percentages swing wildly in the other direction. Just crazy focus fire. I mean, it was a good position to fall back to. And the fact that they were making those shots was huge. Another one goes down. That's the Hellbringer. Light mech's moving up the right side. That very hurt Raven. Gonna try and get a peek around the side. They do take down the Stormcrow. Mech the Dane goes down. But another mech falls for Night Scorn. And then the Raven gets ambushed. Bam. Then they're down to 2 mechs. But look at the score, or look at the percentages. It's 6-1 in favor of Isengrim, but every mech is in terrible shape right now. All it takes is a very coordinated shot. So that Light moves up, kind of takes a hit. I think he loses an arm there. They're challenging the Firestarter, but the Wolverine's kind of parked up and back. And when he gets moving up, then it starts swinging the other way a little bit. And, you know, it gets a little bit scary there. I mean, the Isengrim's Firestar is doing very good, but those two mechs for Knight's Scorn are pretty fresh. They can still do a lot of work here. They have all their weapons. So that slows down for a little bit. I can move it up here. The Wolverine moves up into position. And then these peaks are on the left side, working very well for him. So he drops low. You know,
Isengrim mechs to finish this.
But we'll see. Can Isengrim put the shots on target to finish these pretty fresh mechs off?
Oh, and
here comes the Wolverine around that side. He's got a peek with the right hand, and he does get the shot in. That's what I'm talking about. Is that's what they need to do to be able to come back from this.
Everyone's one shot. So
Everybody's
they only
one
need
shot.
To get one shot.
That Wolverine is so dangerous.
And those light mechs
so
need
dangerous.
to get a little bit more aggressive.
Super Atomic kind of tucking up here. He's going to get potentially shot.
He might get pounced.
But he's going in aggressively on the Firestarter, maybe.
Yeah, and that second drop, I felt like the light mechs from
Here comes the Wolverine for a second peek. Can he take out the
more
gridiron?
aggressive, pretty much the entire
He's
time.
out there aggressively. He does get the gridiron.
At the end there,
and
they probably start doing some real work.
Very well. This is exactly what I was talking about. Those mechs are so hurt. Let's see if they can finish the Firestarter. They get the leg on the Firestarter. He does go down. The last one is the Wolverine. Those Firestarters need to get on him, and they need to finish the job right here, or they're going to lose another mech.
I was just
here they go. They're going in.
So excited.
They're putting it on him, and they do get it.
So they've got those 3 kills to,
did not see
that could have mattered.
I would
not
have
started
that.
I could not
have
wrote that one better.
Definitely, if it had been another draw at the end, or perhaps a Isengrim victory, but not by that much. You know, who knows? Every mech counts in this league, and it was really close matches, really close series. Really amazing, fun to watch. This is why I play competitive in MWO. As for this kind of match, like the one they just had in Canyon. You know, I'm sure everyone just holding their breath in anticipation the entire time.
Absolutely. Oh, man, what a season. This was so great. I'm glad you guys were able to ride along and stuff. And remember, Tuesday is going to be the final shebang, and then we're going to be all looking forward to Season 7. Get in there, talk about rewriting some of the rules to take away some of those draws and stuff, and then we're going to have a very good league. I mean, we already have a very good league, but it's going to be that much better. And with Steam release coming up, we're going to have a lot more people watching. That's exciting. Good stuff, guys. So, congratulations to MWO Twitch for winning the Mech Bay. You have your code sent over to you. But good stuff. Thanks, everybody, for coming by. Thanks, Avatar, for coming in and shoutcasting with me. You did a fantastic job. Wish you got to watch the Drop 5 there. It was pretty exciting, regardless. But we had a little bit of crashing issues and stuff like that and stuff. But...
That's MWO.
That's MWO. Hopefully PGI runs into some of that while they play in MRBC and can turn some of that stuff around. But thank you, PGI, for providing all of the codes and stuff for all the giveaways. That's been really fantastic. It's been cool being able to give stuff out to people.
And the spectator tool.
And the spectator tool, that's been awesome. I've made some suggestions and some things that I would like to see now that I've got a few matches under my belt. This is actually technically my 10th shoutcast if you count the earlier match with 122nd and this one as 2 separate ones. That's 10 shoutcasts basically. That I was able to do, and I wouldn't have been able to do any of that without the spectator tools, so thanks a lot to PGI for that. I'm glad PGI is playing in comp in MRBC. I'm glad they're seeing what we're seeing. That's awesome. I hope they continue, even though they're obviously outmatched right now. I hope they continue to grow as a team and can compete, because that can only help us, for them to experience what we experience. So good stuff. I mean, thanks everybody for coming by. I'm going to go rest my voice. So I'll see all you guys later. Thanks for coming by.
Take it easy.
Pay attention to the paper doll. Make sure you guys are shooting the correct legs. Be careful of the collisions. I don't want to hear complaints about it. Work around it. Let's Let's play this game.
I need another heavy. I've got TB and a quick draw.
I want to get fairly tight to it. Now, anybody who's going to be working range, I'm going to need you to fade right on this. If anybody's running short, is going to stay towards the top of the call there if we're going to come at them.
I have you in the Griff. Griffin.
Sounds good.
Well, that's the thing. We got to get to brawling range, so I may be moving us right up to the hoop if we have to.
Wolverine nach Charlie 4.
It's fine, chill the out, man. It's fine. It's just a 5-star.
Auch Leute, redet miteinander.
15 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't die. 15 seconds, don't die.
Guys. 3, 2, 1.
Charlie Jar, CT, yellow. Okay, go to Charlie, see if we can get it.
There. To your left, there's there. Sorry, shoot.
So, jetzt gleich hinter die Indie-Pocken.
Mediums be prepared to pull back E40 towards the E5 border. On my mark.
Left side, come on! Like now, I need strikes on empty barrels. Why are our strikes up?
Die Hauptgruppe rechts, Uferlinie.
They have train mechs sitting on the left side. When you pass over,
Overheating is bad.
both legs on the Griffin. Hit the Griffin.
Sorry about that. That was such a
That's right. I'm gonna spawn Lance, you guys in Charlie, Lance, you guys in Bravo. That's B2C1.
This third drop is 2 lights, 2 mediums, 2 heavies, 2 assaults.
Jetzt in die Breite, zieht euch in die Breite.
Lights, watch our backs. We're gonna about base and take up position in Bravo 6.
Ja, kurz Aufschaltung, Delta 4, 3 Stück, 2 Mediums, ein Light, wie ich es richtig gesehen habe.
Make a firing line.
C4 Tactical Hill, boys.
Fox.
Laufen unter ECM, hab 2 durchlaufen, 10 Bravo 4.
And get ready to hit people coming from our right.
Charlie on the left, Charlie, Hellbringer on the left.
Okay, let's group up towards the left. We're gonna press through Bravo 3 to Bravo 4. I think they're kind of spread out. Check yourselves, make sure you've got, UAV cool shot. Here they come, they're pushing hard, guys.
Deco. Tez on.
Go. Oh, got a contact here, Bravo 3.
Nice, Marshall. I'm on Delta Griffin.
Well, you cross it then. Get in their face. They got a highlighter. They just pushed up on Theta. We need help on Theta. Up on Theta.
Yep, that's the noise. Go. Let's finish this.
Full pressure, guys. Full pressure. They're down low. They're down low in Charlie 3. Get the fucking arm, Jackson.
Jackson, cool shot.
Cough. I got him.
Okay, go, B3, go.
Echo, go.
Get over on your medium, guys. Get Echo Stormcrow.
God, I suck as a pilot, but thank I packed my skill. I'm sorry that you died, sweet girls, but we will send a reasonably nice letter to your family.